You're not gonna bring the mouse over here?
Yeah, might as well. It's because I don't really have to fix anything if it's not plugged into this TV.
Oh, okay.
I'll go grab it if we need it. Yeah. No, I mean, we're not going to need it right now, I don't think. It's because usually I also have the stuff on the TV over here, so we can actually look at the hentai as we're talking about it. We can right now, obviously. The thing is, the audio is going to come onto here, and I don't know if that's going to get us taken down.
Have we started?
That makes sense.
It should be.
You're just gonna hear noises.
Where does it usually pop up?
I mean, you go to Capcom and it's just like, they're streaming live. Oh, there it is, live, yeah. And then change the chat to live chat, all messages.
I can't find it yet.
Do you have us up?
Yeah.
Is anybody in other than us? Because right now it'd just be you
There's
two.
one person.
I mean, it's just him.
It's
No? Because I'm not in yet.
No.
Should be in home, right?
Go to our channel?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think right now it's just you two. Because we haven't put out the social media blast yet.
I got one trademark that I thought this guy does is hilarious.
What is it? We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll bring it up right now.
Yeah.
You'll know which one it is.
I'm pretty sure I did. Like when I was talking about this guy, I just kept taking little notes as I kept noticing things.
Yeah, like little details, but I was like, oh, this is the first one he starts doing that, and then the later ones, oh, he just starts doing that all the time now.
It's like, yeah, that worked really well.
This is where the seed was planted and now it grew.
Oh, yeah, top chat is also out there.
Notice, could you fix it real quick? Did somebody repost something in the chat?
Grimnir the Wizard.
Ah, hello Grimnir. We're starting at the time we said we'd start, so we're starting at 4:30, but right now we're still waiting for Chaz and Melinda to get here.
Chaz Linda.
Yeah.
Chalinda.
So you can talk to us right now if you want. We'll answer whatever questions you have, including Xavier's extensive sexual history.
It's been said.
I don't know how extensive it actually is.
I still want to know.
1, 2.
Did you put it at the top?
4.
Do you think we might have to push the camera a little bit further back so we can fit everybody?
I mean, the way I had it set up, it catches the whole couch.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, okay.
It's just that it's the.
I'm just
it's the
manspreading.
it's the focal length.
Yeah. We'll all be able to fit on here.
Okay.
I think so.
So tell us about your excessive sexual exploits, Xavier.
I've only had 5 partners, I think.
You're 2 below the average.
Hold on.
I believe the national average is 7 partners.
I put the link on the Discord.
No, thank you. Could you check the audio real quick to see how loud we are? I just want to make sure that people can actually hear us. Like, I can see the decibel level up there, and it looks pretty well.
I put the link on the Discord.
No, thank you. All right, yeah, we sound good. Could you check the audio real quick to see how loud we are?
6, but
6 partners.
6.5.
I like to have
Just blowjobs don't count.
You forgot.
Hand jobs
one.
either.
Okay.
That's a 1/3.
No.
Yeah, if you get 3 hand jobs from 3 separate women, it counts as 1.
What?
No, I was just making things up.
Okay, what if it's at the same time?
At the same time.
Your penis has to be really long for that.
You're acting like it's not.
or you get girls with little hands.
Oh no! You know what that means, though.
They have that. They have that
They're
deformation
too
in their hands.
young.
No.
I don't have any trouble hearing you.
Like that guy from
thank you,
Scary
Thanks.
Movie
Yeah.
2.
Oh.
Grab my little hand.
It's my strong one.
I always love that. I should probably introduce you for the 2 people watching. This is my friend Stevie. He's he has his degree in digital media production, and he does music videos.
Yeah.
So he's here to help us talk about the direction and animation aspects.
The technical
Yeah, he has technical expertise I don't
aspect.
have.
Yeah.
Do you have stuff in anything other than
like to call it.
So you're just an Instagram whore?
I wish they get numbers like, whew. They could take pictures of the shittiest composition, but it doesn't matter as long as the booty's in focus. They get views.
Well, you've heard what happens to actual Insta whores, right?
Where they go to
Dubai.
Dubai.
They Dubai and basically rich Saudi men pay to shit on their chest and fuck their asses.
I was assuming they just got paid to do it, but like, okay.
Yeah, no, that's what they get paid to do. I read an article and it was by actual women who do this, and apparently it's the most degrading things these men can think of, because part of the appeal to them is degrading these beautiful Western women, and so that's why it's a lot of stuff like fecal stuff and like aggressive anal rape, and not anal actual rape because they're paying for it, I guess, and they're willing to it. But it's like aggressive anal stuff and poop stuff and whatnot, and humiliation, like multiple partners. Basically what you saw in these Teruaki Murakami hentai in real life. And they get paid like tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that. And so it's like, well, fuck it. Give me the money and give me that vacation of my lifetime kind of thing. To get shit on and come down my face kind of thing. You seem mentally broken at the...
That seems a little low for all the shit that they do.
I mean, yeah, but you're getting $100,000, so you might as well.
I don't know.
See, I have standards, but I understand some people value money over their self-respect.
Is that you posting in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just double checking.
Well, I feel bad for whoever wipes them up in the future and opens that Pandora's box.
I'm pretty sure that's a common hentai trope, isn't it?
What?
The former gyaru or the former gal who ends up marrying a nice guy, and she's like, oh god, I hope he doesn't find all those DVDs I used to film, kind of thing.
I never seen one that was like that.
It's a common thing. See, you're a technical film expertise. Xavier's seen even more hentai than I have.
Did we do the... I don't remember if we did it for the literature club or not, where the one that she filmed herself having sex, and then later on, and she filmed it in high school, she gets married, and then her husband finds her sex tape.
Oh, and he doesn't know it's her?
Yeah.
No, we didn't do that one, but one of us shared it. I think you showed it to the rest of us. I don't remember sharing that with
It sounds like
everybody.
something you would share, even though you did it.
Oh yeah, it was really nice. He's just like, oh god, I'm so sorry, and she's just like, oh well, I'll forgive you, but it was me.
Only if you did the same things you did in those videos.
No, what happens is the guy is apologizing to his wife because he's like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be watching these kinds of videos, and the wife is like, oh, thank God, he doesn't realize that's me in those videos.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's terrible.
And so what happens is she's like, well, if you really want to do that kind of stuff, I'm willing to do it. And then the husband's like, are you willing to pretend to be that girl? And she's like, sure.
I guess.
Wow, this is exactly the same in the video. This is great. You're a great actress.
Could you
even
just
got the
type in
same
the chat that we're
birthmark.
waiting for the other two, in case anybody comes in and sees it? Yeah. You'd be surprised at how many hentai scenarios there are. And like, for some reason, it's almost like mimetic in how often one scenario will happen repeatedly because one person did it.
Like I said, dude, I just watched the simple stuff, and like the first 5 minutes of the one you watched me was already like a whole new world I never touched, and then it got worse from there after that.
It only gets worse. Darkwood was actually barely vanilla in that, like, so sometimes when it gets to okay, well, I guess I'll not get into this now, but like I wasn't angry at anybody at the end of that.
Oh, angry? How? Like,
Well, it's because some hentai makes you mad at the end.
Yeah, it's just like,
because it's just mean spirited or something.
I guess so.
well,
Like, you don't leave a Shindal hentai feeling like, oh, I feel lighthearted and
just
well
like, God
refreshed.
damn it.
I feel good today.
Why do people let this happen to themselves?
No, I felt like shit in all of them.
Oh, I know
You
it
didn't-
gets worse.
Oh, you didn't see, I mean, doesn't Imouto Paradise have like a relatively happy ending?
Yeah, but it's still his.
Hey, it's his sister,
I guess that's happier than the space one.
then the Kangoku Senkan and
Space
Taimanin
prison one?
Asagi.
Space
Prison battleship.
That one. No.
I didn't watch all those. Did one of those have a dick girl?
Did one of them have a dick girl? No, none of them did.
Okay.
Almost all of them had tentacles. I think even the, compulsory sex one had one.
The last one, the recent series had one scene. I was like, oh, he's coming back to his roots. Like,
Yeah.
there he is. He does, and it was like a fantasy scene, and then it was like, okay, I guess he just wanted to
Yeah,
get
he
out
just
of the way.
imagined it.
Even though it was like it's a light, fluffy kind of animation.
Obviously, we can revisit this when Chaz and Melinda get here, but that's two of the things I noticed that this guy really likes to animate. Even if it's not in the story, it's he likes tentacles and he likes group sex with one woman,
Yes.
multiple men.
Humiliation.
Yeah, and even if there is only one man in the scene, he'll animate that guy's fantasy of him having sex with this woman
Yeah.
in multiple ways.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It's like, especially them getting restrained.
Oh.
That's a must. But I noticed that he has always the ugliest faces when they're doing blowjobs. Like, I swear, like they're always like
you
looking
say
up.
ugly, but I saw a lot of posts on the internet where people feel like that's their favorite part.
But
It's
it kinda
recognizable.
looks like, it kind of looks like a.
It's like a
a
fisheye lens.
vacuum.
No,
Like,
that's
oh,
why. But it's a weird. It's zoomed in, but it still has the focal length of a,
Yeah,
of a
it's
wide
like-
angle
it's
lens,
like
so you get warpiness of their faces, and then like.
they
Well, yeah,
kinda
because
look like
when
fish.
you're getting sucked, you're just focusing.
So it was like it's literally like a POV shot, just like but a telephoto. Like that was weird. It was like.
Grimward the Wizard said,
We
I was
gotta-
happy today when I heard Shindal ad, now I'm depressed.
No. No, Shindal is going to be one of the people we talk about in this season when it comes to artists. I just don't know at what
Are you gonna
point.
make it the last episode?
Maybe.
We did the intro into the
Oh, the
third
dark season? Yeah. For those of you here, like, my plan was season 1 was tag, season 2 would be artist, and then season 3 I wanted to be the gritty season, like a lot of anime have, the gritty, depressing season where one of the main characters dies, and
So you're gonna kill one of us and.
no. I mean, no, I'm going to make you read Shindal, so I'm going to emotionally kill at least one of you. And then season 3, I wanted it to be like all the really taboo, fucked up tags that everybody knows about but likes to not think about. Like the L word.
Love.
That's a fucked up one.
Every time you guys say the L word, I think of the lesbian show.
Oh, lesbians from Scott Pilgrim.
No. There's a show.
Oh, the L word?
Yeah.
I always think of
It's all
Scott
lesbians.
Pilgrim. With the,
I'm
I'm in lesbians with you. No, you gotta tell her, what is it? You gotta tell her the L word and then he says lesbians.
He's like, no, Scott love.
And then when he says it, he says, I'm in lesbians with you. Anais, as somebody who really didn't like this animator, what did you notice?
You really didn't like it?
I wasn't a fan. What did I notice in like how it was?
Yeah, about just this
Okay.
guy's style in
Well,
general.
I noticed the weird drawing. The faces look really weird while the sex is happening. The fact where it simulates like a camera just moving. It looks like it's just moving around one picture. I didn't like it.
Oh, and it gets worse because I'm assuming you're talking about the first series, the
Kuro Ai.
It happened in the last two.
Oh, and the last two, that's when he fine tunes his
Yeah.
technique. The space one is where he actually tries to experiment it,
Yeah.
it's like it never stops and it keeps rack focusing like blurry end focus all the time. But then the next one he's like, all right, you know what? I got a handle at this.
Yeah.
This is how we do it. And it doesn't feel keyframey in the space one. It feels a little keyframe. Like you can
Yeah.
tell it's like, oh, he keyframed these scenes. The other one's like, no, I got the handle.
I
but
got- yeah.
I got it.
Well, it was too much for me.
It was too much for those girls
It's
too.
too much.
What time is it right now?
4:50.
4:50. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So I'll cut what we just were talking about from the actual video. So this will be the actual official start of the video and the podcast when I put it up on SoundCloud.
Alright.
But yeah, welcome to the Hentai Literature Club. We're here. We talk about hentai through the lens of literary criticism. I am your Hentai Literature Club president, Josh. We are currently waiting for two of our, not defunct members. I can't remember the word when somebody's not here yet. That sounds similar. We're waiting for Chaz and Melinda, but right now we have two of the usual suspects. We have Xavier, we have Anais, and we have my good friend Stevie. We went to high school together. He has his degree in digital media production, and he directs music videos. So he's here because for this episode, where we're talking not about an artist, but we're talking about a director and an animator by the name of Teruaki Murakami. And he does animated work. He doesn't do drawn hentai like we've been talking about. And fun fact, if you look up Teruaki Murakami on Google, you're going to find an American animator, or a Japanese American animator, who worked on children's television in the 80s and 90s. completely different person from the person we're going to talk about. So if you look up Teruaki Murakami and you're like, oh, he's some old Japanese guy, that's not him. Yeah. That's some old, nice-looking Japanese man is absolutely, I have no idea.
It would have been pretty interesting if it was the same guy.
Yeah, well, just be like, oh, he did all these beloved children's cartoons and whatnot. Also, violent hentai.
Little did you know, there's something else in that side of said.
Yeah. So yeah, Teruaki Murakami, for those of you who aren't familiar with his work. Oh, there they are. I'll go ahead and keep talking. But for those of you who aren't familiar with Teruaki Murakami's work, he's done a lot of visual novel adaptations, particularly working with the studio called, I believe, Lilith and Aerobeat. And, yeah, a lot of visual novel adaptations. Hello, Chaz. How you doing?
All right. How's it going, Chaz?
Go ahead and take a seat. We already started.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Oh, can you grab my computer?
Yeah. Yeah, let's go over.
All right, who's in the chat so far?
We have Grimnir and who else? Grimnir is the one talking right now.
And there's somebody else moving over.
Yeah. So Ana's going ahead and tell us what the chat's saying so we don't have...
We don't move.
Yeah.
This awesome mother here.
Yeah, Ana's got the chat for us right now so we have some clarity with what's going on.
So I did my best. I watched the first episode of, what was the Dark Love one? I watched the first episode of Imouto Paradise. I watched the first part of the ninja sex demon one. And that's about as far as I got because there's like 8 hours of porn.
Yeah. I gave you a lot. Like I said, I wasn't expecting everybody to get through everything. So if you could get through as much as you can, that was...
I got through more than I thought.
How much did you get?
I had seen a couple of them before.
You can move the pillow if it's in your way. You can throw it.
I'm fine. Can they see me? Can I stage my narcissism today?
I watched both Dark Love and Imouto Paradise, both episodes.
So you watched the beginning and the end. No, yeah, like as I was saying, Teruaki Murakami, he's done a lot of visual novel adaptations, and he's actually been doing hentai since 1999. And like I told my friend Stevie here when we were driving over here in the car, that he actually also animated some of the episodes of Elfenlied, which
that made sense.
Yeah.
It made sense. I was like, oh wow. Huh.
I didn't see that on his anime database page or the other one that I saw on my anime list, but then I went to IMDb and he worked, so more serious stuff that he's done. He worked on Elfenlied as an animator.
How did his career actually begin?
He started in 90 doing, I actually put a filmography of his work up to show you guys. I won't look it up right now just for sake of expediency, but he started doing hentai and he made his directorial debut in 1999. I don't know if he was doing animation beforehand, because I think usually in Japanese animation you move from working like actual animating up to a director. I don't know how it works in hentai, but in addition to being a director, he's also the lead animator on all the works he does, and I don't know if that's normal for hentai, because that's not normal for traditional animation.
But it's kind of normal for manga, isn't it?
Huh?
It's a smaller group making these things.
That's why, because usually if you're making hentai, you're a group of like maybe 5 to 20 something people, as compared to like the massive team that might be working on an anime. Although if you've seen some newer anime, they look like they probably had a hentai-sized team. Oh yeah, yes, his first work was Ikene, or Ikenie, 1999, aka Sins of the Flesh. And yeah,
It sounds familiar and I don't know why.
Is that the one with the demon? Yeah, it's the one with the priest and the demon.
That's not Seven Mortal Sins, right?
No.
But that's a different booby anime with priest and
different booby anime.
It's a comic troll.
No, but something I watched all the stuff I gave you guys, which I put in the description of this live stream. But I also watched something from every one of
Didn't even get a message. I'm sorry, Dave.
Yeah.
Diestra said, damn it, how much have I missed? Didn't even get a message.
Sorry.
It's okay, I just got here too.
No, don't worry. We're barely starting, so we're barely starting to talk about the director. Yeah, something that I watched all of his stuff. I didn't see all of it all the way through. I tried to watch as much as I could in the week I had. But something he's always done is he always likes these really dark topics. And I don't know which one of the series it was that he did before the ones I gave you guys, but it involves people having sex while being impaled with swords.
Love it.
You know, I thought Imouto Paradise was a little weird.
Oh, that's yeah.
That's the tamer of the one
Yeah,
that we
you-
saw.
If you didn't watch Kangoku Senkan, I might be the only one who watched Kangoku Senkan, which is Prison Battleship, which I think is the apex of how
I saw
fucked up
one.
you
I
can
saw
get.
one episode.
Yeah.
At least.
The second episode is the one where scat gets involved. So
Yeah.
you guys cut out of the game a little early.
No, I've seen
I could-
those,
I
I've
could.
seen some of those episodes before.
I've seen
like,
Scat
previously.
before.
Yeah.
I've seen scat before.
I
You know, you would have been. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I haven't seen that.
You would have been proud of Melinda. She was watching porn on her laptop the whole way here.
In the car.
Still,
I appreciate your dedication.
still not as public as that one year at Gen Con where we're like 50 some odd nerds watched hentai on a big ass screen in an auditorium.
That was great.
Grimnir said, "Is he a Bali?"
Is he a,
Oh, is he a Bali? He might be. That's a vampire reference.
that's a demon vampire.
Yeah, they're vampires who worship demons and not Demon the Fallen, in Vampire the Masquerade.
Possibly the same demons.
Yeah, so he's been directing since 1999. Something he always had was that really fucked up plot lines, and something that I saw develop over time was one of the first things I started noticing was the really twisted, fucked up faces women will make while having sex.
Yeah, right.
Did you notice that he
Like,
really
they're
likes that
distorted.
the facial distortion
The
when they're
suck.
Yeah, yeah, we were talking
Suck
about that a
face.
little bit, but yeah, one of the first things I saw develop was the faces and the extreme faces he likes to draw. And then one of the other things I noticed is during like really aggressive sexual animation is that flashing red background.
Yeah.
And then the
Or like that flashing white background where
Yeah.
you would like another thing I noticed was like the free floating camera. He really likes
Yeah,
there to be
in
an
Imouto
actual
Paradise,
camera.
which is-
Yeah. Dark Love is actually the first series where that happens. Is the floating moving camera, which is why I started you guys with that one. I think Seifuku Shoujo is a series he did before this one, before Dark Love, and that's the one where the faces and stuff like that started popping up. Yeah, I guess we can kind of get in. What are the things you guys noticed about him? Because something I noticed he really likes is
He
really
likes
likes
to make the
pee.
women
Yeah.
play with cum in their mouth. Like,
Yes.
really,
Yeah,
like,
it was-
when
that-
it, like, cut.
That didn't happen till the I think the prison ship one. That's
No,
when
it
it
happened
first
in Dark Love and Imouto Paradise, and
That's
they just
right.
love to chew on it.
It was gross. That was gross.
Well, that's
Gross,
because
man.
it's because their cum is so thick. You can't just swallow that.
No.
I mean, I've seen it in regular porn too, and it disturbs me deeply.
Daisha said, "Psst, that's nothing for a LAN
LAN party.
My not so dedicated Christian friends rented out a church for a night. Another buddy had Boku no Pico on his computer for lols.
We're going to hell.
Oh, come on. You're not going to hell for that. Let's be real.
For lols.
Yeah. Something I noticed about the way he really likes drawing women urinating. In Seifuku Shoujo, one of the ones I didn't give you, the girl pisses and the guy like licks it up off the toilet seat.
I was wondering if that was like a problem with the translation. It was actually just cum and it.
No.
No,
But, I was talking about
they colored
about
it.
that, and it's
Yes.
like, no, Fitz, that's not for you.
That was pee.
It was all pee.
It was the first time I see one with pee. Like usually when they do orgasm shots, it's like, oh, it's white fluid. No, this one was like fucking
What
pee.
was it? I think it was a Dark Love with that monstrous amount of pee and blood.
Oh,
Wait,
Oh, because the girl's a virgin.
during the
Yeah.
the
Oh,
maid
yeah,
scene
that
when she's
was
restraining
The
the
lady
maid.
that
I
was
didn't
like,
get
It's just like, how dare you?
That,
yeah. And then
How dare you masturbating now? Now, like take your virginity. I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know she
With
was
a
a virgin.
dildo.
Well, yeah, because she was only getting fucked in the ass.
Oh yeah, the Christian way.
Well, I've heard it called.
Well, no, the Christian way is to soak. See, the penetration isn't sinful; it's the movement that makes it sinful. So a lot of
Because God's a
movement.
T-Rex.
So yeah, a lot of evangelical teens, what they will do because they're horny but they don't want to make God angry, is they just stick it in and will stay perfectly still. Which I think is just a perfect metaphor.
Just marinate it.
for how socially stunted
Yeah.
that mindset is.
I mean, if you can get off on that,
Good for you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but speaking of the whole girls playing with cum in their mouth, something he also likes to do is show men ejaculate large amounts of semen.
Yeah,
I just thought that was like a genre.
and just directly on the
But
face.
I feel like his is like
It's a
extra,
lot more.
like extra more.
just like, where are you keeping this?
Daisha said
He
it
likes to
recorded in
put
their
it.
ear.
He likes another thing I noticed. He likes the armpit thing. I don't know what that's about, but he likes to stick his dick right in the armpit.
No, I wrote that down as well as something I noticed. It's not just the armpit; it's also the under the knee that
Yeah.
he likes to do.
Like I think in Imouto Paradise, he did his like purple-haired sister
it's
with stockings on, like through the leg.
It's a secret vagina.
It's the fourth hole.
You have to believe it's there.
Here we go. Something I noticed that I thought tied everything together about him was something called I believe it's sclerophilia, and what it is it's the sexual attraction to not breaking somebody, but the sexual attraction to like how do you say it?
Getting somebody on your page.
Humiliating.
Yeah, kind of humiliating somebody, but also making them dirty. And it's not just literally
So like corruption.
Yeah, kind of like
Yeah.
corruption, but it's not just. I've seen some definitions, and sometimes it'll be like it's literally getting somebody dirty, like screwing somebody in the mud kind of thing. But a lot of times it's things like bukkake, which you see a lot of
Definitely.
in his
Shamino
work.
Warren said, "Hello, you disgusting weeaboo bastards."
Ah,
Yusuf.
greetings to
Oh,
you too.
Daster
Yusuf.
also said the volume of semen is massively disproportionate to the size of their testicles.
Yeah.
I think every hentai protag just has like a secret third nut
There's extra.
somewhere like back behind the
It's a
spine.
super nut that exists in another dimension.
The pocket nut.
The
There's
pocket.
extra, there's extra pockets in your
And
nuts.
so
that just holds all of it.
there's as much semen as you need there.
Yeah. So sclerophilia also. Yeah, I already said bukkake, which you see a lot of. Gokun, which I believe is cum play, which is something you saw with the girls playing with the cum in their mouth.
Talking to
Yeah.
some scenes.
Yeah.
Gargling.
Gargling.
Yeah, right.
I know
I
one
saw
of them
that one too.
gargled too.
Fucking pro right there.
Smooth animation though.
A lot of facials. Omurashi, which is the making somebody have to hold in their bowel movements, including piss and crap. Urolagnia, which is urine play, which we saw a lot of, and coprophilia, which is scat play.
The amount of research you do in this is nothing short of inspiring. I think,
Well, he's only professional.
I sent you, or I tagged you on the Twitter thing.
yeah, I didn't. I was driving.
His
I'm
very
sorry.
last thing of like, yes, okay, research, still like minutes before starting.
This was, okay.
You have to applaud the man's dedication.
Really do.
It's for educational purposes.
Yeah.
Nothing more.
Yeah, look at the stream. It's under education.
Oh, what did I sign up for? Nothing. Oh, thank God.
We actually had, I think their name is Stellar Avatum or something. I don't know off the top of my head, but they actually commented on the last one, category education.
Oh.
And I was like, yes, you just hit upon the one thing that actually allows us to stream this on YouTube. It's either this or Pornhub, people. You gotta give us somewhere.
Yeah, I guess we'll kind of go hentai by hentai, or animation by animation about the kind of stuff.
Titty by titty.
Yeah.
Start with
Wait,
Dark
Daster
Love.
said, not sure if I'm just a bitch, but is anyone else getting some kind of weird low reverb from the audio? It's starting to make my head hurt like that scene out of Scanners.
I hear it.
You do?
Yeah, there's like a weird, like underwater sound underneath everything. I don't know if you want to take it here.
Let me turn down.
Take a here. That was fucking English.
Here, let me try to fix something on the whole audio thing.
Oh shit, we have a professional mixer.
Yeah, a little one.
And that's Yusuf, right?
Yes.
Yusuf
Wait,
said,
when we get to fake handy cam hentai.
rearrange.
Fake handy. I don't even know what that would look like. Is that just like paper cutouts? Huh?
No, like the handy, the movie
movie camera.
like a camcorder. Like that's how.
Oh, okay. I thought Handycam was like an OBS type program.
No, tell me if you all can still hear us at that point, as well as if the reverb went away.
Underwater is a really good way to describe it. Oh, hold on.
Blub, blub.
Oh yeah, can you see that the chat's not disappearing this time?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, what'd you do?
No, I just fixed it.
What'd you do?
Because isn't there an
Just
actual
got way
setting for
better.
that?
Huh?
Isn't there an actual setting for that to like fade away after?
Yeah, I took off the fadeaway setting, which is the default for some reason.
Yusuf said something, I don't know.
Oh,
Zettai,
it's
Junshu, Kyousei.
pure fake handycam. He's
Kozukuri
talking.
Kyokashou is a pure fake. Oh,
He's
fake Handycam, fake camera. Got it.
Is there, but nowhere near brain quaking level. Oh, it's there, but nowhere near brain quaking levels.
Let me try turning it down a little more then.
Yusuf, that sounds like a jutsu the fourth Hokage would come up with.
still there.
It is.
You're just turning us down. You're not
Getting rid of the noise.
You're not making the ominous dark god we're summoning with this fucking pagan sex worship any quieter.
That would be bubble blood.
It's not teabag, is it?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's worse.
Worse.
See, this is why we don't have professional equipment. The nicer things we have, the more we have to fuck up.
Yeah, Daisha said it just got worse.
You got worse.
Yeah.
Did it go back to normal at least?
Did it go back to normal?
Just go back to tolerable and then we'll be fine.
Guys.
Hang on, I should probably be listening with my good ear. That might help. Oh God, that is unbelievably bad. Do you have headphones? I'll share my man cooties with you, but you need to listen to this.
Grimnar says, "Wait, we're summoning a dark god. Let me get my sacrificial robes."
No,
I mean, you think we dress in black because it's cool?
Might be.
Must be like a sensitivity thing with the pickup, is what Daisha says.
Yeah, maybe.
Just smack the microphones around. Make them drink or come.
Is Fitz wearing a little tie?
It's so cute.
That is
It's
magnificent.
not a Christmas tie.
You are debonair as shit,
Fitz.
Fitz.
Get him over here.
I tried, but then we got into like one of these.
We must show him off to the camera.
Daisha says he wears black because
Oh,
it's
yeah, cute.
slimming.
I wear black because it's
See, look! I showed my hand. Now he wants to pounce.
Yeah, get him to come up here. There
Yes.
you go.
He's been in that mood all day.
Come here, kitty.
We gotta show him
Distract
off.
the audience from the terrible audio quality.
We're at the premiere. They'll know what to do. Fitz, come on.
Come here, Fitz.
Wave the candy wrapper around. He likes it.
Like he likes trash.
You want the trash?
He doesn't like toys.
You want the trash, kitty? You little hobo kitty? You want the trash?
Street cat.
Go ahead. Get it, Fitz.
Just pick him up.
See, I wasn't lying.
Ah,
He really
Hopefully
was.
that should be
You
tolerable.
have fallen for the trap.
Something tolerable, but
He likes Xavier's waifu.
Xavier's waifu? Food?
Waifu.
My wife is not trash. I don't think I have a wife. I think it was asked this previously.
Look at that cute kitty, guys. He has a
I don't
tie.
think I gave an answer.
I'll be able to fix it a little bit in post. I can't do anything about it right now.
Oh, that's really rough.
Does it sound better though?
It should be tolerable.
Here, somebody besides me decide if it's... Because I'm super neurotic, so...
Alright, my headphones aren't plugged into the.
Barely there, back to tolerable.
Yeah, as long as it's
Yeah,
tolerable.
that's
Okay.
It's just you.
Good enough.
It's just
Cap
you.
seal of quality.
Grimir said, I think Susan are better at dealing with demons. I don't know how to say that.
Samisi.
I mean,
They're better at dealing with the demons they are. But on to Dark Love, speaking of demons. So, for those of you who didn't see Dark Love, you pointed out that something I did notice that happens a lot with Murakami's works is that plot definitely kind of gets thrown to the wayside.
Yeah, it does.
Definitely.
Even though they're
Skims
visual
through
now,
it.
yeah. So, like, the plot of Dark Love is that this man gets sent to this, basically this mansion where women are prostituted to rich men, and he's there to train them. And he trains some local women that kind of end up in like a mind break, fucked up kind of scenario. And then for the more women he manages to break, he gets like this dark potion that brings him closer to this dark elder god. And you really don't get that till like the last 5 minutes.
No.
And
Like,
it,
just
yeah,
a small scene of exposition, a
It's
minute
literally
long.
like some magic potion, and then it's like, oh, you sold your body. Cool.
Yeah,
It's prostitution for the
yeah.
most part.
And then he becomes headmaster or some shit.
Yeah, and then he takes over this. Yeah, there's a lot that doesn't get explained, and I've never played the visual novel, so I can't fill in the gaps for you.
16 hours into 40 minutes.
Yeah.
This is a story.
I think a cyber demon's about to appear and discuss porn any moment. Well, we invited a couple of caca demons, but they don't.
I
they
really
don't
enjoy
respond
this
well.
Doom 3-esque heavy industrial background. With the audio, but I really want to talk about porn, damn it.
we will talk about that.
long as you all can hear us fine. If not, I'll try to mess with it more. I think what I need is something to boost the audio without putting the gain up, because I think the gain's going up as the volume's going up, and I don't have anything to fix that right now.
But is there like a certain something making noise?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think anything's moving.
I can't think of
enough.
anything that's vibrating right now.
It's Fizz.
Fucking bits.
Probably the fucking cat.
Yusuf says, so we hear you, boys and ladies.
So, who have you managed to get through Dark Love? Because I know not all of
I
you.
saw both episodes.
All right,
of Dark
awesome.
Love.
Saw both of them.
I had the latter episode summarized for me by Melinda.
So, what were the first couple of things you noticed? Because I put them in chronological order. That
And lady boys that don't judge.
Which one are you insinuating is which?
Maybe Fizz?
So, what was some of the first things you noticed? For example, Steve.
I noticed the first thing in the first 5 minutes is this is something I never watched
Oh.
at all. I just
In
watched.
the first 5 minutes, there was titties. You guys.
No, there's I never seen tentacle shit at all in my
Really?
life. Yeah,
Really?
like,
I feel like it's a hard thing to miss.
well, I don't go actively seeking for that shit. You know, like it's like
You don't have to.
I know what hentai is, and I seen like the boring shit because I was like I'm used to
Like
that.
Boku no Pico.
But like yeah, I know what that is too.
Yusuf says, I don't have enough free helicopter rides for lady boys.
And yeah, like Josh took me to a whole nother level in the first 5 minutes of the first clip he recommended, and I was like, all right, there it is.
It's a whole new
This
wondrous world, man.
exists. And then it got worse the more series he
Is this
showed.
stuff on the Discord, by the way?
I don't have links to it, but I did post what they were because some of these links are a little hard to find.
It might be a little hard to find. Like you have to go to like a Polish site.
Yeah.
One of them you got off the deep web somewhere.
Some of them you can find on Kiss Hentai. Some of them you can find on Hentai Haven. Some of them you can buy a DVD. Dark Love, the one we're talking about right now, has an English dub that you can buy.
No
What?
way.
Yeah.
Why didn't you link that? That
They're
would-
awful. You should never listen to English
You should
hentai
never.
dubs.
At least there's like some value of
But
entertainment.
then you get Dan Green.
Yeah, English dubs give you.
Yeah, you get Yu-Gi-Oh.
You get Dan Green and what was her name? The voice of Makoto.
Cindy Robinson.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Wait, what
No,
did Cindy
none of them
Robinson
worked
do?
on that one.
Viper GT.
Viper GT has all that one.
No, the
Wait, did she start, or were they like, "Hey, Cindy Robinson, the weebs love you. Here's a ton of money to moan into a microphone for
No,
5
he
minutes."
released used a pseudonym.
no, but yeah, because the thing is, a lot of hentai English dubs are done by porn stars, and as you know, porn stars aren't usually really good actors.
I thought they were, man. I'm just
Johnny Deweas, welcome.
Bible Black stuff wasn't bad.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're all absolute
I
trash.
didn't see that one, and I don't want to.
I never seen the
Weird,
Bible
man.
Black either.
No, we'll get there eventually.
You don't want to see that.
This is worse than what you showed me.
Yeah.
I guess in some sensibilities.
See, you don't know because this is your first Hentai Literature Club. I'm on,
Yeah.
what, 14? We don't give a fuck anymore.
I feel like I jumped a little bit too late into
he
this.
jumped- I had to jump into the deep end.
So when are we gonna talk about the wholesome stuff? You know, like I don't
See,
know.
that's the secret. Hentai Literature Club itself has the corruption tag. We just don't care at this point.
No, what were, because you said you watched the first work and then you watched the last work to try to get a sense of his style. What was something you immediately noticed about him?
So he started doing the freeform camera, but it was very, very subtle. Like he mostly just did it with the blowjob scenes.
Yeah.
That's when like I was like, all right, cool. And then like later on, that's when he
You went
He
crazy
really,
with
what I
it.
noticed
he toned it. He actually toned it. It's the prison ship one where he went really experimental. Like he was just like, all right, everything's gonna be freeform, and I'm gonna rack focus
What,
everything.
Is
Like
it just dialogue?
They
Did you guys notice in what was the Dick Demon Ninja one?
Taimanin Asagi.
Yeah.
Or Anti-Demon Ninja Asagi.
I'm just gonna call it the Dick Demon Ninja one. In the Dick Demon Ninja one, he added stuff like grain and like static and stuff. Like it's one thing to have that free floating camera, but he actually turned it into a camera. Now I didn't see the whole thing. I don't know if it was later revealed that there was actually like surveillance spying on them or something. But I thought that was very interesting.
Another thing
it
he
was a
likes
real
to do
fucking
is
camera.
like he likes to hit fast forward on all the sex scenes, meaning like
no,
it's really
not fast
aggressive.
forward, but I feel like the frame rate's a lot smoother during those scenes, and they're kinetic.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Very
Like
kinetic.
it's just so fast.
Yeah,
the sex,
there-
like it's like
there's-
Jesus. this.
Yeah, there's some parts where you're just like, okay, they're picking it up. Wait,
And then they
what are
go
you
for
doing?
like a minute. Like usually with scenes, they're like, all right, they pick up, and then boom, like 10 seconds. All right,
Well,
okay.
yeah,
No,
like-
this one's like.
It's like this guy's going like Mach 2 for like 2.5 minutes.
Hey, life
They-
goals.
Like, I jokingly call it fast forward because it's so fast. I'm like, you would get friction burn in there so fast.
The
What are you
epitome
doing?
of
Well, no,
drilling.
because she has so much. She's got like so much piss in there, it's just lubricating.
Oh yeah.
Daystra said, I hope Josh uses my dojin for that aftercare episode.
Oh. I know what he's talking about. The one we made last time.
But I actually like his cinematography. It's really unique compared to all the other everything else. Like I felt like was just a blur
You've
when it
seen
came
all
to
the
other.
modern vanilla stuff.
Yeah, and then here it's just like, oh wow, this guy's got a vision. As fucked up as it is, there's a vision in there.
No, that's why I picked him, because he's the first person that came to mind. Something I haven't said yet, but a common nickname that I've seen on like different hentai boards and even 4chan is people refer to Murakami as the god of hentai, and it's kind of divisive. Some people really love the way he does things. Some people absolutely hate it. So as I was talking to some
So
of you
kind
guys,
of like God.
yeah, as I was telling you guys earlier, Taimanin Asagi and Imouto Paradise both have sequels. Neither of them are directed by Teruaki Murakami. Some people hate them, some people love them because it gets rid of his style. So you don't have that
He's so
distorted
sensitive.
fisheye lens kind of thing.
And handheld camera work.
Yeah, you don't have you don't have that kind of stylistic stuff he's known for.
Mm.
Some people like it better that way. And I actually saw like people would be like, I fixed fucking Murakami's hentai. I steady cammed it.
I steady camera.
Yeah.
Warp stabilized.
Yeah.
So how did he get that that nickname? Because when you tell me that, my first instinct is that he got that just from being all over the place with tags. Was there a...
What makes him a king?
Well, they're not just the king, they call him the god of hentai.
Oh god, oh shit.
I think it's the fact that his animation style is so aggressive and it's kind of visceral.
It's nice and dynamic versus some other ones are just like they're having sex. I mean, yeah, some people are into that, but like it's just like show me more, do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the way he shows sex, I think it's very different. Because a lot of animated hentai, it's like if it was a real camera, it's like the camera would be put in place, and then the actors are just having sex.
Yeah, they just
and then every once in a while, the camera angle shifts to something more flattering or something more erotic. Like it'll have like the close up of the penis going into the vagina.
yeah. Oh,
But then usually it shoots back out to just like the girl riding on top of the guy kind of thing. Whereas Murakami, what he'll do is it's like moving around like it's a real camera.
And then it'll switch like POV and
Yeah.
POV and then like yeah, usually with the boring stuff, it's always a tripod shot. Like oh okay, they're
Zettai Junshu right now.
and then they'll just pan or tilt the camera. And I noticed for every hentai that I've seen personally, it's just boring. Like okay, we'll pan it here, tilt it here, and then we do the where the guy's invisible shot where you just see it, like you see the opacity of him to see through.
Yeah, it's just like no one wants to look at man gooch going in.
Yeah.
It's like so just make him transparent, and so we just see her looking like she's getting fucked by a ghost.
Yeah. But then the hand camera work, man, it's really
It's interesting,
something.
right? Like
it's something,
even if you don't like it, to me, it's more interesting than
and
every other hentai.
and it's
created.
not even
Todd Howard.
We're super low though.
Ooh.
Yusuf says well done, Scrubs.
Okay.
Is it still low?
Yeah.
Bring it up the.
There's no reason it should be low.
I mean, it might be okay, but I've got everything maxed out and I still can barely. Wait, hang on.
He's like, no, the volume's on 10.
The volume's all the way up.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
All right.
You know how someone bring up Scientology.
Now, something else I noticed starting with the first work is he draws women really glossy looking,
Oh yeah.
and men have like this really washed out tone of skin to them.
Yeah.
And it almost, to me, it almost seemed like the men and everything he draws look really ugly. And it's not even the faces. Like in Dark Love, the guy has like a very small, 90s anime looking face.
Yeah.
It's
It looks
unappealing to
stupid.
look at.
Yeah.
But then every other man that comes out, they have like these really
Just like
the rape men
Yeah.
face.
Like fat ugly bastard tag for everyone else that isn't the main character.
And even some of the ones that are the main character, like in what is it, the Prison Battleship one?
Mhm.
Those are not attractive men, and they're the protagonist in that one. Yeah, protagonist. Let me see. Here we go. Obviously, I wrote down tentacles. Tentacles is something he has a lot, starting with the first 10 seconds of
Yeah.
Dark Love.
Of Dark Love.
Just like
Aggressive
all-
tentacle
It's the
rape.
best
You broke my tentacle cherry, man.
I was gonna say, as somebody who likes tentacles, what did you think of the tentacle animation you saw? Because you saw
It was
Dark Love.
fantastic.
Yeah. So you saw Dark Love, and what other ones did you manage to watch?
Imouto Paradise.
That one doesn't have
No,
tentacles.
The
That
the
was
last
pretty,
series. The,
Yeah, Zettai
has like a fantasy quick.
Yeah, the Forced Conception one, the last one, that one has tentacles, and Taimanin Asagi also has tentacles, which is interesting because you like the tentacle animation. I'm curious, from a woman's perspective, what did you think about the way he portrays female orgasms?
I don't know. I didn't really think it was all that weird. Like, I've seen so much of like overly dramatized like female orgasms that's just like we don't spew that much unless we have something wrong with us. But okay.
So you seen ones where like the tentacle just goes throughout their whole body
Yeah,
and
I've
pops
seen-
out of their
I've
mind?
I've seen those before too.
That's-
That was weird.
How are they breathing?
Josh literally have a little black book of porn.
Oh.
It's a research notebook.
Yeah.
sir.
No, yeah.
It's classy.
It's for educational purposes.
No, I write my notes in here, and like it's kind of funny because I wrote notes for the Hentai Lit Club, but in between it are session notes from World of Darkness because I run Dark Ages Inquisitor for the group. So yeah, it'll be porn,
We
Inquisitor.
can say it's a black Bible of hentai.
So really, what we're looking forward to is when the notes get mixed up.
It's just like,
All right, roll initiative. 5 tentacles come out of the bush. All right.
It's like, all right, Adam, roll to dodge.
Roll
Oh,
for
we're
it.
still injured.
Roll to dodge.
Oh, Adam gets fucked up in every game we play.
Yeah, I also wrote down notes: large amounts of semen and male ejaculation. The larger the pool of minorities on stream, the most passionate Josh's accent becomes.
I was pointing
Oh.
at the.
Hope he doesn't leave it laying around with his uni or whatever. Wonder what Professor Josh studies.
That's why you guys should play Fable.
Oh, we'll do that that's the 1,000,000th subscriber special.
Is us playing Fatal.
Fatal.
Yeah, I also wrote down because I went work by work. So large amounts of semen is something you see a lot of.
Mhm.
I don't know if you all noticed this, but at least in the first 3 works, which are Dark Love, Taimanin Asagi, and Prison Battleship, a lot of times there will be pubes in the women's mouth during or after blowjobs.
I did not notice
I
that.
didn't
That
notice
is a
that.
fine detail then.
How many times do you watch them?
I watched all of them at least twice. Some of them more than
That's
that.
8 hours of porn, Josh.
I took notes the whole time too.
It was on time to speak though.
You are. Oh, Captain, my Captain. You're my fucking hero, dude.
I was telling Anna, it must have looked really funny if you would have walked in on me when No, because like I had the day off the other day, like the morning off, and I was like, okay, let's go over these notes one more time. And like I came
This
in.
is clearly someone who's experienced accurate oral sex.
Yeah. No, who said that? Was it Shimino?
As Yusuf, yeah.
Yeah, that's something that actually happens, right? Whether you're a man or a woman giving oral to somebody, sometimes hair gets in your mouth. Which is something interesting. Going into that, off of what I was saying, is that to me, Murakami has like a very dirty way of depicting sex.
Daystra has a question. Oh, who is the absurd amount of semen for exactly? I've never heard of men complaining it. Complimenting it, sorry. Does it do something for women, like the Giant Balls episode of South Park?
I don't know. That gets into something else that's interesting in that I also wonder that, like, is it men who enjoy seeing that amount of ejaculation?
I think it's both, because guys
Honestly,
like a lot of girls to see like them get dirty like in the face. Like,
yeah, but that much that kind of hurt my nuts.
I think
it
to a certain
depends on the person.
Yeah.
I just think it depends on the person.
like it's not a thing for me personally, but I could definitely see it appealing to like
Yusuf
what is-
said nope.
what are the words that I'm actually looking for? It is like a male fantasy of virility. You know what I mean? Like we men, we are so programmed and cross-wired to associate our manhood with our ability to impregnate things.
They
It's
just
just it's
says it-
hardwired into the fucking DNA. So I imagine when guys see these huge steaming loads, like that's super manly to them.
Well, Daystra says if he
It
feels
feels
emasculating
emasculating
to
to
him.
them.
It's like, what, you can't come gallons at a time?
But Yusuf says
What's wrong
that-
with you?
There's also some women who like it because I know that there's like a lot of women out there who just like to see a lot of cum come out of a guy because they're just like that's hot.
And Yusuf says
Well, I mean,
that it
our
reminds him
foreplay
of,
always starts with "woman get the bucket."
It reminds him of saline injections into the balls.
No.
What is
That's
that?
what? What's saline? Like the water.
Yeah, but what does that do?
Oh, he's saying like imagine like the balls are getting and then that's what's coming out.
Oh no.
But that's where a pee is stored.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, like I was saying, I think Murakami has like a very dirty depiction of sex, and I think it goes into that like solirophilia, where it's like you're dirtying the other person by coming on them a lot.
Yeah.
And to me, there's no romantic sex, even in Imouto Paradise and the forced
lighthearted
conception
ones.
one, even the lighthearted ones. Sex isn't really romantic, at least the way it's physically depicted. It's fast, it's aggressive, it's dirty. Even if you're having consensual sex with somebody, you're insulting them. You call them you slut, you whore. You know, you have a dirty cunt and stuff like that. Like I wonder what his actual sex life is like, because that's like a very unromantic view of it.
What if he's super vanilla?
Yeah, that might be true. Like I said, like
And you might be
just-
super vanilla, and then this is just his concept, just like, how do people talk dirty when they have sex? They just insult each other, right?
I feel like he just wrote this as a joke, and then people praised it. He's like, "Oh shit, I guess
You guys
it's
are
successful.
idiots.
I guess I gotta
I gotta
do
do
it.
it now." Like you're just
I feel
trapped
like
into that.
A lot of people just kind of say that to each other too if they watch regular porn. Like,
I mean,
So
people,
wouldn't it be
people
hilarious?
Just say that to people regardless of if they're in a romantic relationship.
The other thing too is that like sex in and of itself just kind of gets dirty, and I don't even necessarily mean with like dirty talking and insulting that person. I just mean like with the hair in the mouth and stuff. Nobody has sex the way it's portrayed on a porn site.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I mean, they can try.
Daystra says, is he taking a sexual aggression through his work?
Yeah, I mean that's a valid thing. Like I know I jokingly said, "Well, I wonder what his sex life is actually like," but there always is like that separation between the person making something and the kind of work they make. Like he like Anna, he jokingly said he might be completely vanilla in the bedroom, but I do think it's interesting that that's something you see, even though these are adaptations of other people's works. Because like I said, these are almost all of them visual novels originally. But there's still things that tie them together, and there has to be things that he sees that he likes in these work that makes him decide to adapt them rather than something else.
Or those
So-
specific parts too.
So these
Yeah.
were originally VNs done by different people.
Yes, I believe Taimanin Asagi and Prison Battleship, both done by Lilith, which is a company known for doing that kind of stuff. That really aggressive, fucked up, tentacles, cum inflation kind of stuff, body modification.
Completion.
And so Teruaki just kind of looked at these things and was like, or I guess the respectful way would be Murakami-san, or is Teruaki the last name? I can't remember if you're
Murakami's
being
the last name.
cultural or you're.
Yeah, his last name is Murakami.
Okay, so Murakami-san just sort of
That's sensei to you, Nana.
Murakami Dono. So he just looked at the stuff and he's like, you know what? That.
I don't know how it works, because they also might have approached him and asked him to do it, because he doesn't. If you look at his credits, which I put in the drive file I gave you guys with his filmography, if you go to his actual filmography pages, he works with different studios, and so it's not one studio he works for. I don't know if it's him being invited by these studios to do these adaptations, or it's him approaching them kind of thing.
Can you imagine that being your like career, what you're known for?
He worked on
we need an anime for this. Call the weird porn guy.
Especially for Elfen Lied, is like, you know what? I'm not the type of guy to do some fucked up things to these women. Oh, I know just the right person.
I've got him on speed dial.
Calls him up at 2 a.m. All right, I got this.
I know you're not sleeping, you fucking pervert.
Something else I noticed, especially in his early works, is there's like a lot of infidelity kind of going on. At least.
Oh, I forgot there was an ex-girlfriend in the first series.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
Like she has like one masturbating
Yeah.
scene, and then at the end she just like looks up to the sky like some sad anime, and then like she has a boyfriend. And I was like, what the fuck was that all about? like has nothing to pertain to the story.
In the first one, didn't the guy have a girlfriend? And
Yeah, that's the one we're talking about.
And then this is after she hanged up too, so it just randomly had a masturbation scene. But he's like, "Oh, I just need these 3 girls to climax at the same time."
Yeah,
oh, I had
which I
2,
thought was
but I'm just gonna add 3 for this scene and split screen them all.
Like, to me, that was an interesting way of adding intensity to the scene, right? Because in normal hentai, it's going to focus on that main sex scene between the man and the woman.
Yeah.
But then it jumps between the man and the woman having sex, the girl outside at the door masturbating, the ex-girlfriend at home masturbating to the scene, and it's just cutting between the 3 of them in like this non-stop cavalcade of sexual release kind of thing going
everyone's
on.
horny at the same time.
I stopped watching right after that.
A little bit of voyeurism right here, a little bit of cheating over here.
That Neto Rari is just a spice. It's the Tabasco.
Everyone's.
But was it
mad
that
about
bad? Because she broke up with him.
Yeah.
Because
Like he got
he was
attacked
on the phone.
while he was laying there. Like she just kind of like jumped on his dick and was like, "All right, let's go." And he's like, "Oh God." And she's like, "You're cheating on me, aren't you? Fuck you." Just hung up.
Well, yeah, but she can masturbate.
Yusuf says,
But then she masturbated to him, so I don't know.
Yusuf says you will never walk out after sex to see a random girl gasping for breath at your doorway with her hands down her pants. Feels fucking light, man.
Bland.
Lit.
It's some sort of Russian insult. I don't know directly what it translates to, but you'll commonly hear it as sukabliat. My pronunciation is awful. Cosmic, forgive me, you're not here right now.
But you should
It's a big thing in the Counter-Strike.
Well, Yusuf, that
Never say never.
That really depends on where you are at the time.
Are there several people in your house? Probably not.
Like, I'm sure if, you're the only guy for, like, 10 miles.
Like in the last one,
Yeah.
the only man in the city.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you.
Now, what did you all think of the way he kind of draws women with a very blurred, dreamy, glossy kind of look?
It was weird.
Like, I never seen an ass shine so much like a bowling ball. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing. And the way the lighting in the scenes.
Soft lighting and
It's
soft
soft lighting,
shadows.
but soft lighting doesn't do reflections like that.
Yeah, it's like soft lighting and soft shadows, so it's just like,
That doesn't
do I
make
eat
sense.
the butt?
Okay, but
Can I wax it?
this is gonna sound weird, but it reminded me of It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, that is
Because
something weird.
okay, hold on, because it in the
should
way they're
move.
all recording, the way they're all recorded, it's like it's pretty straightforward. But then when they show the wife, I can't remember her name. She's always very soft. It looks like she has softer lighting,
Mhm.
and like somebody blurred her features a little bit, and it's kind of like this.
See, I would have went with the Addams Family.
We just watched It's a
I know.
Wonderful Life. But yeah, kind of.
Because in the Addams Family movies,
Morticia
Morticia always
always
has
Does
the...
that light right there in her
She
eye.
has
Yeah.
like the different light.
Yeah.
So, Stevie, what do you think?
Which series are we talking about? The
It
first
doesn't
one.
We're still all 5 of them
Also
basically,
doesn't
but
matter.
still
Okay.
the first
The
one.
way.
But just like the glossiness of the woman.
Yeah, the only one I noticed that had different lighting was the ex-girlfriend from the first series, and she was lit like more innocently, whereas all the other girls were like dirty sluts or some shit like that, like high-key lighting with drama, and this girl was just like what you see in a soap opera. I was like, well, I guess that's the one that got away or something.
Just like, yeah, we're not doing vanilla tag.
We're not doing this.
Daystra says It's a Wonderful Hentai by Murakami Teruaki.
I don't know if he can do that. You might have a hard time being able to draw something so wholesome.
So,
Another theme I saw starting from the very first one is you have that male domination of women,
yes,
which is a theme that I noticed pops up in all of his works,
Real too.
at least in the 5 we had. I wonder if you all noticed that, or if you had any...
Oh no, that was probably the one thing I noticed.
The first thing.
Oh, what were you about to say, Chaz?
I was saying I noticed it. I mean, it didn't really... It stuck out to me as odd, only in the fact...
How quaint.
If Chaz can get a wife who you can't 2 days straight.
He's not wrong.
Oh my god. That was rude.
I mean, not everybody can win the fucking lottery like I did.
That's true.
What the fuck was I going to say? It stuck out to me only in that it was sort of strange that usually when you have a mangaka or a hentai
Animator.
fucking king or whatever the fuck.
God.
When you have somebody... Huh?
God.
Oh, yes. I was trying to think of something funny like Gumbo Palace, but it just wasn't working. It wasn't connecting. Anyway, when you have somebody that does this sort of thing that focuses on domination so much, usually they'll switch it up to appeal to a wider audience. And just focusing on the female domination, I thought was interesting to me. I mean, since I am a dom myself, I was like, okay, thumbs up to that. And then he started, banging his pissing little sister. I'm like, you know what? Murakami, I don't think we have that much in common. That much on that.
Did you notice?
Was that the only one he was? A guy was actually restrained. All the other ones were women, but that was the only one I noticed where it was just the guy getting restrained for the first time. I was like, oh, now he's finding new ground. Like, finally.
Yeah.
But then he loosens it up, and then she's tied again. I was like, nah, all right.
No, but did you notice he does have like a lot of BDSM, like actual bondage stuff in his work?
Absolutely.
Rope?
Ropes, tentacles, and a thing he likes to use a lot are nose hooks, which are a very Japanese bondage thing I found out.
Is it
Yeah,
really?
that's kind of a weird thing to me.
I noticed it more just like...
What's a nose hook?
Yeah,
Nose
Nose
hooks are
hook is-
the thing that pulls the...
Okay.
I looked it up, and apparently it's meant to be like a humiliating thing. I also think it's meant to kind of make you look like a pig to kind of insult you.
I saw one porn once where like he used that nose hook thing and he made her call herself a pig and made her
Squeal.
Squeal like a pig, boy.
Or like that sound of...
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
The boo,
I'm not into
buta,
that.
buta.
Alright. Next.
Which is something I thought was interesting that tied into his general theme of like male domination of women. Were you about to say something?
I was gonna say there was one thing I actually kind of liked that was really realistic, at least in the sense, not the whole molestation, was that usually when a woman reaches a climax, they always like go fade to white, and then it's over and they're already cleaning up. This one was like they're actually accelerating, and then like they actually stop, and then he even gross ass shot of a flaccid dick.
No.
And then the girl's all vibrating, but I was like, wow, I never seen that.
Oh,
like, the aftermath.
That's something I was going to point out later. Was that something he animates is like the little quiver some people do after they come.
Like you actually feel like they exercised. I thought that was pretty.
Which kind of ties into what I was about to connect, because I said when I noticed that theme of male domination, I kind of felt like this definitely has like a more male audience bent to his work.
Definitely.
But that to me it seemed like when a man ejaculates, that's not the focus of what's happening. The man ejaculates and he's going to ejaculate again. And if there's multiple men in the scene, they're just going to be ejaculating all over this woman.
The ejaculation is significant.
Yeah, no, the male ejaculation, what you would imagine would be connecting to the male climax that's actually happening to the viewer, isn't what's the focus for the man. It kind of seems like the time the man is supposed to ejaculate is supposed to be connected to when the woman is coming in the story.
Yusuf said, the last time I got this hard this fast, they needed to escort me off the airplane.
What was it? Was it American Airlines? They had to beat you off.
That's another thing that Murakami likes to do a lot, was like the soundtrack is when it gets really intense.
Yeah, he picks up the music.
Yeah, and it's always like...
It's almost industrial music.
Yeah, like it's not shit you ever expect to see in a porn. And I mean, like, I kind of respect that, because if you're gonna be a weird porn dude, you might
as well go all out.
Like that one at the end of the first episode of Dark Love, where she's just like double fisting it to fucking like Cumby Christ or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's something I also noticed, was I was like, he uses really almost like aggressive battle industrial music sometimes.
Because they're getting aggressively fucked. So you have to match it.
It makes sense.
Love is a battlefield.
It's very...
There was no love.
It's a good detail.
There was.
Very good detail. Good direction.
Yeah. So what do you all think about that kind of that idea that it's almost like the man ejaculating to the video is supposed to be in sync with the woman ejaculating.
Says, God forbid you put a hole in the pressure of the plane.
I'm going to say no if I agree with that, because usually a lot of the sexual encounters, at least for the ones I saw, seem to start with a blowjob.
Yeah.
So the guy would seem to always get off.
He
first.
really likes blowjobs.
He does. He does.
Well, that's like make that face. Like,
Yeah,
He wants to do that face. Like,
he likes the sucked face in the shot.
and then when their mind break, they're like their eyes are just like all the way in their roofs and just like smiling. Like
That's something else I noticed. Is there's a lot of female mind break through like consecutive orgasms that
There's
happen.
so much out of that. It's ridiculous.
And like that in Imouto Paradise, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the first time the guy actually got off, not counting, I think the one with the pink-haired girl was a fantasy. First time he actually got off was when his little sister like made him the fifi and like stroked him off with it.
Mm.
So I'm not sure I agree that it gets timed with the women all the time.
I think it happened a lot more with the first three works, with Taimanin Asagi, Prison Battleship, and Dark Love. That's when I kind of mostly picked that up with. It's mostly the women having these intense orgasms that are the focus, rather than the man coming to what he's doing with her to the woman.
Fuck you, Shimino. I've done it a couple of times. That's how I get the waifu.
He says orgasming in sync with the ladies up your face.
It's a 1% dice roll.
Well,
Now, ideally, you loosen them up a couple times beforehand. So that when you get to like the fourth or the fifth one, it's like.
well, yeah, when they're getting dicked by like 5 dudes, it's not so hard when you're like the last guy.
So, are you saying my penis is worth 5 dudes? Because I appreciate that.
No,
I invited you to find out yourself last week. You still haven't called me, Xavier.
but
It'll damage a guy's self-esteem.
But hentai taught me that coming in a girl makes her come automatically.
And Yusu says, yeah, Chaz, that might be true, but any 100-round machine gun will hit his target once or twice.
Maybe I'm a mortar.
Yeah, we already talked about the bondage, but I also noticed he really likes to use toys in his work. And something I noticed a lot was like the using the 2 little egg vibrators to
Yeah.
a woman's nipples,
On the nipples,
Yeah.
or having like multiple dildos in the
Which,
vagina and
that
ass
was
at one
always
time.
a strange spot to me to put those things, the egg ones, like on the nipples. It's like, that should be in her. Not on her nipples, that's a waste.
I think that's just a Japanese thing.
No, I've seen it in a regular porn too, which I just think it's weird.
because you can't walk around with egg nipples.
Daystra wants to know if that even does anything. Well, some people can like
Some
orgasm.
people are
Yeah.
sensitive.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
people can orgasm from
Our
that.
nipples can be sensitive, yes.
It depends entirely on the woman.
Or man.
Yeah,
Or
I guess
man
it's-
too.
We don't judge.
Mine are basically like dead flesh.
Yeah, it does nothing for him. It's kind of boring.
Well, no, that just means you haven't gone to that limit yet. So you need to attach a car battery. See if that.
It needs
does
to be
something.
tied first and then applied. I think that will work.
just 900 volts straight. I might feel something.
Got a jump start.
Daystra says for educational purposes, you guys need to test this.
Alright, babe, take off your shirt.
I'll get the jumper cables.
No.
Don't forget, men have nipples too.
So what did you all think about the scat elements that come up a lot? Like, if you didn't watch Kangoku Prison Battleship, you didn't see the actual shit scat scene that happens. But piss play happens a lot in his
Yes.
work.
Yes.
And to me, it almost seems like he substitutes it for like a female ejaculation. In that, like, in the moment where a man
Does
would
he?
come, I feel like it kind of does,
Yeah,
because it's
like
at the
normally-
peak of the orgasm
yeah, it's like,
where a man would ejaculate, the woman pisses.
No, I just.
I know it doesn't work that way in real life, but to me,
So
That's what he
It
did.
does.
Yeah, it's different at least compared to all the other stuff I
And
said.
there's that one scene where, like, in Imouto Paradise, where the little sister just pisses all over his
Yeah.
oh yeah.
and then
Oh.
it's thick.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, like she.
Yeah.
Yusu says, "Get me out of Dodge, fam. I'm on a one trip cruise away from these tags."
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No one likes these here, I don't think, anyway.
Okay, I should hope so, because poo is gross.
So his fluids are always like very thick and frothy, like
Yeah.
Okay, Daystra, I just want to say, pee and female ejaculation is not the same thing. It's not.
No, it's
It's
not.
not the same
It's
thing.
absolutely not.
Now, female squirting,
Like,
that is
here's the
usually
thing,
pee.
squirting is different than
No,
than
yeah.
coming. Like, squirting is when shit
Yeah, he's like,
flies out
But
of the
Come
squirting,
on.
squirting still isn't peeing.
No.
Yeah,
Well, here's the thing. Like, a lot of people would say that squirting is not pee, but the thing is they recently tested this, and there is pee in
But there's
squirting.
like very small
Because
not an actual ratio when you actually do
Yeah.
pee.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because they've actually done. I read a paper where they actually made the women empty her bladder beforehand. They stimulated her to when she would squirt, and when there shouldn't have been any fluid in there, fluid still came out. So some sort of sexual fluid that isn't just urine
Comes out.
so builds
And
up and
they're-
comes
they're
out.
So
like-
guys in lab coats just came with vibrators.
I can't believe we're getting paid to do this.
There are trace amounts of pee, but it's not
Yeah.
you peeing.
Because it comes from inside of you, where there's going to be urine.
There's discharge.
Yeah. So not the same
You
thing.
said, I read a paper where they emptied her bladder and stimulated her. I bet you're fucking pardon my man.
You'd be surprised about the things I have to look up for this.
I mean, I would debate signing up for that or not if I didn't have a boyfriend. if she's lonely, man.
Just like, hey, we're gonna make you we're gonna make you orgasm multiple times as part of a science study.
We'll pay.
It's just his thanks,
Like
Professor
you get
Josh.
paid and you get funsy onesies out of it. Sure.
But see, on the flip side of that,
Are you
this is-
abusing Jay's story?
No. Am I abusing Jay's store? I'm glad Yusuf. He would make that joke. No, fellow student.
on the flip side, it's just like, hey, we're gonna give you money, so we'll get you off. That very easily leads into a mind break situation where they just keep you and use you as a sex
Do
slave.
it all the time, all day.
Something else, and like we mentioned that he really loves animating those blowjob scenes. Something I noticed is that he also likes to do that shot where it goes from the girl blowing to the inside of her mouth.
No.
So you see the
Oh
whole
yeah,
thing.
like the POV of the dick
Yeah.
down the esophagus.
Reminding me.
Or the tongue.
Yeah.
The tongue looks.
Yeah, he also draws really like thick, fleshy tongues.
Yeah.
I noticed that too.
In addition to that, we mentioned blowjobs a lot, but something I noticed from it not being there, there's some foreplay for women sometimes, usually in oral.
Forced.
But at no point does he ever like use like digit stimulation
No, he
in his work. It's always if a man's preparing a woman,
it's just
preparing.
blowjobs.
Yeah, it's with they're using their tongue, and sometimes like in Taimanin Asagi, the tongue acts like another penis because it's like a demon tongue that just kind of slips in there.
Wasn't there finger stimulation in the sister one? With the
Maybe.
girl that he was slapping her ass to pee or some shit
Oh
like
no,
that?
I mean,
her
he
underwear
did it
was
a
still
little
on.
bit in Imouto Paradise where he was banging his sister in the ass and start playing with her vagina. But
Yeah, usually it's always if he's
And that was the most wholesome one too. Shit.
I feel like that's a setup for a hentai too.
what?
I said you go to the library and ask the librarian for these studies.
No.
With the books.
I'm doing a study on porn. Well, chicka wow wow.
Daisha says cats finally apparently but non-penile contact with a vagina is gross.
I mean, if you're into that.
It's all gross.
Cool beans.
When he was slapping her, he was going at the rate as if he were like thrusting into her. That doesn't feel good. It wouldn't feel good. I think it's just like
She was
it's
wearing
just
tights.
constant like this, like slapping hard.
I beg to differ.
But wasn't she
I
like
guess.
wearing tights? So I don't think it would have like hurt the skin as much. Like compared to contact, she was wearing tights.
I've done it with cover and not cover, so I beg to differ. I will argue with you on that one. I'm a little bit
You
more
don't know.
aggressive.
We already brought up the quivering bodies, which I thought was interesting.
One that
I like that was like the one thing I could take was like, oh okay, that's actually pretty cool and
The little
different.
post-orgasm kind
Yeah,
of
like them
thing
like
that some
like
people do.
quivering and all that.
I also noticed he also likes to animate the faces and bodies kind of moving towards you. I think there's a style of film for this. Isn't it called a gonzo film when you're filming it from the first person?
Gonzo film?
I think it's a term specifically for filming live action porn, though.
quality over
I think so,
quantity.
because I'm not too familiar in the film
hentai
industry.
department.
In the film industry.
The hentai department, though.
Oh no, that's top tier.
Another like a really fetishistic thing that comes up in a lot of the work that the first three was like the whole pregnancy stomach deformation and expansion.
He
But
loves
there's
that
two of
too.
those.
Yeah.
He loves to have pregnant women in there, man.
The dark one.
Dark Love has a woman where she's actually pregnant. Taimanin Asagi has the stomach deformation from large penises or
Yeah.
just a sheer amount of cum going into her.
Yeah.
And I think
Scares you?
I also think the cum inflation thing also happens in
Weird, because like think
Prison
about how much
Battleship.
cum you'd have to have inside you in order for your stomach to actually be deformed.
Like even
and
a little bit.
deformed visibly.
Yeah.
Because I'm not super good.
Also
at
implying
but
that it
the
goes to
womb
your
is, like,
stomach.
That
The
seems
womb
like
is underneath
Yeah,
the
it's
stomach.
not-
It only worked for one girl during the
here's
butt.
thing, that's how-
That's when it went to
like,
her
that's
stomach.
Okay, well, yeah.
You can
I mean,
argue-
you would have to inflate.
But
the
then I'm
womb
like, both
to
come
push
of them-
past the diaphragm, through the bottom of the stomach, through the top layer of the stomach, before you would even see a bump. So that's a good, fucking 12 inches of jizz?
Yeah.
Maybe 8.
Okay.
We gotta go by volume.
Get 'em
though.
all there upside down.
And then let's assume that like okay, that's not going up through the butt into the stomach, and it's
And
just it's just like swelling of the womb, I guess. Whatever.
And then maybe it expands
would
when
be
it's in there
incredible.
because it's so
that has to go through
frothy.
your
Like it's just like.
intestines.
Daystar, yes, that would be incredibly painful. Yusuf said when you orgasm in a woman's ass and she burps, biology gone too far.
But more importantly, that all the way through.
Alright.
Oh yeah, all the way through happens in Dark Love, which we've been just skipping around a little bit, which is fine. But yeah, in Dark Love, that kind of got me thinking about the way like women's bodies are portrayed in his work, because you have the all the way through, and then you have like the inflation and deformation through the large things being inserted into women.
We're just one vagina.
Yeah, it's almost like
It's
that
just
in a way.
one hole goes through your whole
that
body.
is optimal.
There's no turns in there. Just
But then I think that also ties into the way women's bodies are used, with like the under the armpit and behind the knee also being used for sexual gratification. It's almost like the woman's body is seen entirely as a sexual
Yeah,
object.
as a sex object, like we're toys and shit.
Yeah.
He wants to.
Like we're fleshlights or
He wants to use every part of the woman. Right? You don't want any of it to go to waste, so you have to put your penis in all of it.
Actually, isn't that the recurring theme where he turns all the girls into toys?
In a way, because in Taimanin Asagi and Prison Battleship, these women's bodies are literally modified scientifically. Like in Prison Battleship, if you didn't see the second episode,
I saw the one where they like hooked wires into your heads and like delete the memories.
Because it takes place in like this sci-fi future thing, they alter the body so that the throat also becomes an erogenous zone to the two female officers, and so they can orgasm from giving guys blowjobs. And to me, that's like the apex, like you said, that Prison Battleship is like as bad as he got for you, in that that's what happens, and that women's bodies are literally modified so that every part of them offers sexual gratification.
Yeah.
You stuff enough aphrodisiacs down their throat.
Yeah,
But
that
hey,
happens in Taimanin Asagi.
but that anime intro was pretty cool.
Oh, and which one? Prison Battleship?
Prison Battleship. I enjoyed that part. I enjoyed.
What did you all think about that? That his works have openings and endings sometimes, like an actual anime would.
That's so funny to me because I'm like, you're really trying to make this serious right now?
Like
I mean,
Because there was one that I
that
saw
series
recently.
specifically had like a cliche one. It started with a wide shot of ships going through Earth, and then people like looking to the side. Like it was very cliche. I was like,
I saw
wow.
that there was like these girls like, and they were like superheroes or something, but then they like went undercover as prostitutes, and like they had an opening and everything. I'm like, really?
Yusuf says, I feel like radical Western feminism gains its greatest moral high ground based off these particular works.
Oh. Stevie, do you want to share the story about
Yes,
hentai
Stevie,
and
share
feminism?
it.
Oh god, you want me to talk about that?
You don't have to if you don't want to. I think it might be a funny thing to mention here.
I think you should talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, so it was my last year before I graduated with my degree, and I had a women's studies class. I don't remember the specific subject, but these guys, Josh and
Being
my
great
buddies,
friends.
are hilarious, or they think they were hilarious enough to like whenever someone, what would they text you?
Somebody would just say something like boobs or something
Someone
like
would
that.
say boobs, and then there'll just be a group chat of Josh just sending hentai to whoever who requested that. What sucked was I had a shitty phone that was barely smartphone at the time, and I couldn't see the images unless I downloaded them. So I had to actually turn on the network 3G just to download the messages. But I was in women's studies, and I just throughout the whole class I just hear vibrating. I'm like, no one calls me. What the fuck are they doing? So like, while after the lecture, the teacher just walks around. We're talking about our group projects. I'm like, all right, let me see what these idiots are talking about. I start downloading each and every one. I didn't even like download one at a time. I just like boom, 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 and then it takes like a good like couple of 6 seconds, and then all of a sudden the pictures start popping out, and then it's just like it's hentai work, but it's not just regular hentai. It's like futa shit, like like. I was like, all right, but what was worse was
That wasn't me though. That was John that started sending. And we started getting weirder and weirder.
But that's
I
not
have
the
a
point.
question. How many years have you been disseminating hentai to
Oh no, that was just like a joke that one friend started, and then I just went along with it.
But the one when the Futa picture came out, that's when my professor passed by and noticed what was on my phone.
His women's studies professor
Which
in
was
a class about feminism.
who was a woman, I'm assuming.
It was a woman, a short, angry woman too. And she tells me, "Excuse me, Steven, can I talk to you right outside the class?" I was like, "Oh shit!" So I was like, "Yeah." So I go outside, and she's, I could barely remember because I was just so embarrassed by you fucks. Like, I was just in shock of what happened. And then she tells me, it was like, "Whoa, what's that on your phone?" It's like, "Oh, it's just a stupid joke that my friends they just send. Yeah, it's a guy thing." I didn't have a good.
It's a guy thing. We like looking at girls with dicks.
I was under pressure with this. I had no idea what to say. And then she's like, "You see, it's guys like you that are the problem of the world. That why women
can't conform.
Why women are looked up as
images."
It's like, this is why we're looked up as objects." I'm like, "I'm sorry." I just received these. I didn't send any.
Wait. Let's talk about the problem with that philosophy. What a turf. The feminine penis is legitimate.
I don't think she was looking at it that way. She was just looking at it some weird photos out of
I
us
just couldn't
students.
believe she told you that when you told us the day after, like, you're the problem with women.
I was the problem, and then I didn't know what to say. I just said, "I'm sorry," and she gave me these ugly looks for the rest of my semester. And
That was like the third week too, wasn't it?
She's just like, "Oh, he's probably looking at dicks."
Bitch, why are you looking at my phone?
Every time a feminist says shit like that to me, I always bring up how would that make transsexuals feel. Yusuf. Okay, cool. Oh my god.
What?
Sarah's on. Hi, Sarah.
Sarah Rouhani, how's it going? Oh, that's your friend Sarah.
Yeah.
Behold what she does with her life. Your friend's logged on. Her friend's logged on. I've had a friend to be on.
Yeah.
Your cousin watches
Tony
us.
showed up to
Oh yeah, he does.
the
Is he watching now? I
CSVS
don't know.
stream I did the other day. Maybe he'll show up to this.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm the problem of why women are looked up as objects. Apparently, just me,
You specifically.
just me.
Did you tell him about it later? He was like,
Oh, I told them the next day, and
And
they
he just
couldn't
goes,
stop.
"How dare you."
He couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, I was like, that's a little messed up thing to say to somebody. It wasn't your fault.
Yeah, it's just your problem.
Yeah, something else that comes up a lot in his work was the putting women on display in like an exhibitionalist format,
Hold on.
as well as the taking of multiple partners.
Daystra said if you downloaded Boku no Pico, you wouldn't have had that problem.
It's like, haha, I'm not looking at women. I'm looking at little boys.
You'd be strong.
Your move, Teach!
You'd be a strong, independent homosexual pedo. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. The chat's fun. Yeah, what do you think about that aspect of, like, it happens in almost every story, even if there's only one male protagonist in it, women always end up having multiple partners in his stories. And a lot of times they're put on display for everybody. Like, do you think that kind of ties in with, like, the sort of male domination aspect that comes up a
It's
lot?
like, look at this. This is mine.
So they all turn like free use.
Yeah. That's not the tag, but that's a sex term that's
Yeah, no,
thrown out a lot
from
free use.
from Pornhub, from what I learned anyway.
From my research, I have.
This is why you're the problem.
Maybe.
It would be funny if she was watching this right now.
She's fuming.
That's Steve.
She just stalks me throughout the rest of my life.
Like, she sees it. No, she sees us doing this, and she's like, "Oh, what the fuck are these people talking about?" She sees you on it. She's like, "I fucking knew this. How did you find all of this?" No, I'm sorry, Steve. I can share a funny story that we did yesterday, at least. So one of the thing I noticed a lot coming up in Teruaki Murakami's work is there's one particular sex position he likes to animate, and it's called rabbit ears. And I don't know if you want to find a picture and put it in the chat or something.
Yeah.
But it's when the woman.
Can we do that?
It's not going to be actual
Put it on,
people.
can I put it on the Discord?
Yeah, you can put it on the Discord.
Absolutely, everything goes on the Discord.
Wait, what's bunny ears?
So rabbit ears is a sex
Oh,
position
rabbit
where the woman is upside down, and she's kind of leaning on here on the floor, and the guy's holding her up. So the woman's upside down, the man's right side up, kind of squatting.
Like that?
Yes.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
show you a picture right now.
There you
Is
go.
that like the jackhammer?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was wondering what that position.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that
it
one.
is the jackhammer.
And so I was pointing it out as I was taking my notes, and Anai and I were like, I wonder how well that would actually work. So we still had our clothes on, and we actually tried to maneuver ourselves in that position. And it's really difficult.
For me.
Yeah, like it requires a certain...
You just have to stand up.
Yeah, you just have to stand there.
Oh, this is so hard. Can you hurry up?
This is too easy. Come on.
I think that would break you.
You might
It's
get
been-
everything easier.
Because like all of the pressures on my shoulders and like my neck is bent.
Yeah.
Right
Like,
when he was.
If my
Did you put a pillow?
back is straight,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
if
it's-
it would
even
bother
with the
me,
pillow?
it
Yeah,
would
even with the pillow,
probably
it was a
turn
lot.
my-
Like, wait,
myself up.
bring back up.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Hold on.
Can we see
Sorry,
examples?
Sorry.
You
Do you want
opened
me-
in
let me explain it.
incognito mode.
Yes, my brother's gonna use my computer. Okay, if this
Does
position.
your brother know you do this?
No.
Because that's a very easy explanation.
Oh, I like how it has.
Yeah, let me
has
read you
tabs.
guys. Let me read.
Hashtag.
Let me read the description.
All right.
Complexity, hard level.
If the position is not very comfortable, it is impossible to relax completely and accordingly to get high. What?
I'm assuming the sex high.
Oh. This position is very extraordinary, and to learn how comfortable it is, you have to try it yourself. The man stands behind his legs in knees, and drives them as much as possible apart. So legs spread apart. The woman takes a birch position so that her head is between her legs. Her legs he raises up as much as possible and fixes her back in that position with her hands. This is badly written. The male partner puts his hands on her buttocks. Legs of the lady are extended along his body, and he penetrates her from the top.
That's such an awkward. I can't understand the other way.
It was hard to like get the genital area together.
And then there's
You have to
other,
be like the perfect height.
yeah.
both
There's
parties.
other things you need to
It's
consider,
hard.
like the man size, the woman size, like
You guys need
how
to
flexible
actually
they
try
are.
this and give us like feedback.
No.
There's nothing Josh won't do for research.
Stimulation.
It says
Oral
man active for
stimulation.
this position.
Yeah.
And then you're
Oh, yeah, 'cause
squatting.
oh, yeah, 'cause
This
you're the-
person's squatting
Yeah,
too.
they're
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, you're the one doing the thrusting. She just has to like try to.
You have to be
Okay,
able. You have to
but
be able to
then-
do basically keep yourself right up in a yoga
Yeah.
position.
So then,
Question: does hentai improve sex life, or is it way too far left field, or does it make you laugh too hard?
At higher standards, I think.
I mean, I don't know what kind of.
It's a little bit of all of it.
It depends on the hentai you're watching,
Yeah,
right?
it
Obviously.
depends.
Just like, yeah, I tried getting banged by 5 dudes at once. It wasn't that good.
I was disappointed.
so then I wanted to also try it with Josh doing the thing on his back, and that was just way harder.
It's just like,
I couldn't like help him stay up.
What if Josh was on the floor and then you squat?
Yeah, I couldn't
fucking,
like help him stay
Amazon
up.
position.
It
That's
was
a little
hard.
different,
It was
though.
harder.
I don't think I've ever seen the Amazon position animated in hentai or drawn.
What's the Amazon position?
See, this is why
Yeah,
we
what is
need
that?
Adam for this. I'm pretty sure we could convince him to give this a try.
Amazon position is it's kind of like missionary, but the woman's on top. But the man's also has
But yeah,
his
but yeah,
his
she-
knees up.
Yeah.
Wait,
Man's
Oh,
knees up,
okay.
and his wiener sticking out.
Like the guy has
Yeah.
is the one with his
It's
leg.
a very submissive man. Because you can't do anything. You can't.
Yeah, it's all completely on the woman.
Looks
Yeah.
funny.
But this is in men's journals. 10 sex positions that will get her off every time.
Well, yeah, because it's just like, here's my wiener. Do what you want with it.
Pirates bounty.
It's yours.
Imagine that hospital.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Okay.
What is this? I'm just going
What's
through
that called?
going through scissoring or scissors.
I
She
seen it
looks
with the
like- she
dude
looks
on there.
like she's gonna do a fucking.
That's like a freaking Yuri thing, man. What do you...
The guy's just like, yes, I'm looking at the ass.
Where else is he gonna look?
This is the
That booty.
cowgirl position illustrated, but there's the little line thing from the guy looking at the girl's butt,
Just like,
so
yeah.
everybody knows you need to look at her butt.
He's not gonna look at
I
her
mean, yeah,
heart.
what are you looking at? Ugh.
Her favorite, talking. Oh my god. I'm gonna
See, that's why it's men's journal.
shut down.
This is worse than.
Please turn that off.
So going back to the kind of animation aspect of Teruaki Murakami, what did you think about like those flashing red and white backgrounds he likes to do? That seems like something out of
I
like
didn't
70s
like
movies.
it that much because I remember that there's one where it's just white and he like it's like the penis is thrusting, but it reveals like red for her vagina. I'm like, is he pissing blood? I thought it was blood at first, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like the way it looks.
That almost seemed like something out of Kill Bill or something with the red and
Oh,
the
the
background.
ding,
Yeah.
ding. I guess it like adds.
Does it have
it
some
makes
sort
it makes it more cerebral?
Well, it
I
also
suppose.
adds to the viscerality.
Yeah, exactly. Because like he's doing these very violent fucks, like very violent, like they're like the car pistons or something.
Yeah.
And
Sex, the way Murakami depicts it, takes a lot of effort.
There was also the when he wanted to make something soft and stuff, the lace overlay. Did you notice that?
oh, he was doing that for
Imouto Paradise.
sun glare,
Oh.
but like it was kind of a weird way because you could actually see the fill like
Yeah.
crossing each other, and it was just like so it looked cheap. I was like, what the fuck is that? Is he trying to emulate like the sun flare? But
Very violent.
It was a
I
little
think
weird.
he just really likes handheld camera
Yeah.
work. Like it's pretty cool. Like he saw Born, the Born Identity one day. Is like, you know what? I want my porns to look like that.
So wait, who's the hentai director that saw Citizen Kane? And they were like, yes, mirrors.
Solar
Yusuf
flare?
said, "Very violent fucks. We can go home now." He nailed it.
Roll credits. Hentai Lit Club's canceled.
Let's talk about his lighter stuff.
Oh, you want to talk?
Elfinly.
the cleanest.
We'll be honest. What do you want to talk about the Imouto Paradise
Oh, sweet Lord.
and forced conception?
You know, I tried to get behind the thing that you said about even if it's not our tag, we should still approach it.
No.
And the thing is, like, I have become better at that since you said those words. I've become more open-minded. But Imouto Paradise was still hard for me to fucking get through, man.
Was it the incest aspect of it?
So the incest is pretty goddamn tame at this point. It's a fucking hentai meme. You know what I mean? It's basically a joke. The lolly was a little bit harder, but like I said, I've become more open-minded. I can deal with that. When his little sister just started pissing all over the place, I was like, or the fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm good.
I
I'm
would
good,
No,
fam.
like,
I'm out.
see, no, that didn't bother me because I've seen it so much. I'm like, ew, that's gross. But like, it's the fact that it's a little girl. Like, he's this big ass dude that's probably about like, I don't know, your age or something, and he's just fucking his little sister. who's
You're
like 10.
old.
I fucking.
What do you, going to that though? What do you think is like the appeal to that whole cum play thing that he likes to do with the girls smacking it around in their mouth?
I guess they're making like to make it look like it's actually tasty or something. Like
No, there's definitely guys that like
No,
to see it.
there's so much Western porn that does that too, where the girl like plays with it in her mouth exactly like that, and then she'll spit it out and then bring it back into her mouth.
Gargle, spit, catch it in your mouth.
Listerine.
swallow.
And I'm like, can we not do that, please? And the guy, you just hear the guy in the camera like, yeah, and I'm like, no.
There's definitely guys that like to see it. I'm just not one of them.
I was trying to imagine because I would watch that solely because you were like, just do it. You can do it.
Just fucking watch
And
the least bad ones.
And
And,
just
like-
says, quit playing with your food.
Your food.
Swallow it.
I basically had to
Swallow
imagine
it.
like I was basically like, okay, just imagine it's like yogurt maybe or
No,
you know,
condensed milk.
I guess
Spoiled condensed milk.
We say that from there's an ecchi anime series about a girl who does voice acting work. For
Oh, I read
hentai.
that series.
Yeah.
You're the one that told me about
Yeah, there
it.
we go.
Like,
You don't
yeah,
remember
it's time
that?
ago. Yeah, I remember.
She was like, "What does cum actually taste like? They make it seem so tasty. They're like, tastes like condensed milk."
But he was joking, right?
Yeah.
Well, because he wanted to show her what
Yeah.
it actually tasted
They
like.
just said salty milk and coins.
It-
Why
it's,
would it taste like that? Oh god.
I don't know. I never tasted it, so.
are you referring to
Is
something
it-
else?
I'm just gonna
Daystro?
say.
What are you referring to, Daystro?
I don't think I could describe the taste of female genitals if I tried. It's I can understand why describing the opposite would be difficult too.
Well, the thing is, they
People
also,
say pennies, no?
Pennies? I don't know if I'd say pennies.
I would
like
not.
copper
I've
or
had
I
nickels.
pennies.
haven't put a penny in my mouth.
Like it tastes like a coin or some shit.
But look, it's going to be different based on
Yeah.
the diet of the individual female.
Or if they clean it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just it depends on diet. Yeah, it depends on diet.
So like guys have to like supposedly eat pineapple for it to taste
Yeah,
better.
like, and
What's
they
the
also-
woman's version of that?
Like, you,
I mean, it's
feel
also
like
funny.
some-
You-
Pineapple?
They have to drink loads of cum to make pineapple taste good.
I feel like it would taste how it smells, and that's just weird. Like I remember one time my friend was doing her boyfriend while I was at her house, and like they had like this little basement, like it was a long basement, and her room was in the corner,
Good.
Did it smell like fish?
No, it's
or
like
what?
durian fruit.
No, it was just like I don't.
It has a specific
I don't know if you-
taste.
It's not like durian food.
Like I don't know if you've noticed what like cum smells like, but it smelled like that, but like 10 times more.
Imagine how those shows smell like.
No. In hentai, they always say that what is it? That cum tastes and smells like dried squid.
Oh.
That's a joke I always hear.
But like it just smelled like 10 times.
I never
more
experimented
pungent and,
that far on my
I've heard people describe it as like a fishy smell.
Sound of a man on an all-meat diet. Oh.
Yeah, well,
Protein,
like, that's the funny part.
spoiled protein.
Apparently, he worked at Subway, so he would eat sandwiches like all the time, and I'm like, if that's why, that's probably why.
I mean,
like,
she needs to get that protein.
Just I just eat pineapples every day.
Daystra coming in with the real questions.
What?
If you eat nothing but cum, does your cum taste like concentrated cum? And if you eat that concentrated cum, does your concentrated cum taste like super concentrated cum?
I think we'll never find that out because that person would be dead.
Oh yeah, because they have nothing but cum.
That wouldn't be a nutritious diet.
No, it's an extreme version of the carnivore diet. Is what it is. Carnivore diet where you eat nothing but meat.
Yeah.
You eat nothing but man meat, basically.
You know, I'm pretty sure, like, theoretically, there might be enough, like, if you had vitamin supplements.
Vitamin D, some fish oil.
and liquid.
Well, yeah, you can still drink, right? But, like, how do you survive only eating cum? Get on it, Murakami.
They just said it's keto.
It's keto.
Let's just assume. I mean, it's about as. Never mind. I'm assuming you could do that for maybe a couple of days, just surviving off of cum.
We'll volunteer to Daystra to test this out
Someone
because he
test
said
this
test
out.
it out.
Adam!
No, poor Adam.
He's
Don't.
the intern for a reason.
Leave him alone.
He's an intern.
So, Stevie, you pretty much watched all of them, right? Like at least one episode.
Yeah,
You-
I gave each one a shot. Yeah.
I tried. I didn't see Prison Battleship. What was the fourth one that wasn't Imouto Paradise or Dark Love?
What was the one about the only guy in the world?
I keep forgetting
Okay, I
it's
didn't
Zettai
see
something.
that one either. then.
Zettai. Yeah, I remember
Here, I got-
Zettai something.
I think it's just breeding pest.
Yeah, like that's
Yeah, the guy with the pass and
Zettai
like.
Junshu?
So what you said that something you noticed was that his work becomes more consistent going from Dark Love to the Conception Pass one.
Yeah, that's when he fine tunes the everything comes together. This is where the true visionary just clicks.
Just like, yes, this is it. I can never do anything better.
He even did a callback to that show too. He threw in tentacles randomly
No.
for a fantasy scene just to get out of the way. He's like, yeah, I did this back.
Is there anything else you noticed that kind of changed from that series to the last one, other than it becoming
That
slightly
the
more
man
tame?
actually finally gets dominated back. Finally,
No.
like he's
It's like some revenge or what?
yeah, but
Yeah,
then like that was short too.
Like the guy that used his cum not in that one that's in Junshu, whatever, that he used his cum not to procreate, and then the other ladies come and it's like, well, now we're gonna completely drain you.
Yeah, like so the guy actually gets
Dominated
and I was like, whoa, that's finally he's expanding, like, but I don't know, I felt like he got really mature around that time. He
Do
finally
we know for a fact that Murakami is a dude? I feel like there should almost be more interest.
The short old woman.
I don't think there's any way to tell,
really know.
unless Japanese names you can tell by the gender of the name.
Google search his image.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, but some of them are pretty unisexual.
Yeah.
What about the rest of you? Was there anything else that you felt stuck out to you to Murakami's works?
I mean, everything sticks
I
out.
mean, like, he's got such a now that you know who he is, you cannot watch a hentai that he has done without immediately knowing it's him. The camera, the music, the cud chewing,
Warp face.
They just said Murakami is actually your feminist teacher.
she desperately needed to let that out.
For
It's
me,
like, is this what guys want? Is this what they want?
You like that, you sick fuck?
I mean, I feel like feminists should be okay with hentai, right? Because at that point, it's literally an object. Like that should be okay if we objectify this drawing, which is an object.
and usually the men are kind of there just as objects. Like you can't. Most of the
Yeah,
time, you can't see their faces.
Yeah, in his work, he doesn't even bother to draw the faces 90% of the time for men.
I just
Yeah, like
realized
there's-
the protagonist. Well, except for the space pirate one.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if you're gonna walk up to somebody that you barely know and tell just because they got a text on their phone and tell them that they are the problem with women in this country, you're probably not too open to nuance.
What were you about to say about what you noticed?
For me, this is the first time where you've given me something to read or watch. I guess in this case, this is the first time where I'm just like, I can't do this. I'm not gonna. They can go and use my house, but I'm not gonna be a part of it. Yeah.
This was
Which one was that?
This was.
I opened the very first one. I ended it 7 minutes in, and I was like, all right, I'll watch the last one. And I was just like, this isn't fun for me. I don't like it.
These aren't terribly vanilla, but this is also not even close to some of the worst shit I've seen.
I guess.
I feel like I've seen the worst.
I've seen
Like
way worse. Like I could show you something that would fuck you up right now.
No,
I mean, you're so innocent.
I just, it wasn't my thing. And I realized that I think it's because when we're reading the hentai, I can kind of gloss over all of the sex. It just, it's...
But with
this,
hentai, it's always there.
Yeah, it was just very in your face.
with the sound effects and
It was just too much.
the lighting.
Oh yeah, something I didn't point out yet was that he really likes to draw women crying. If you notice during sex, they have the tears and sometimes the snot rolling down their face.
I mean, I feel like
I feel
just,
bad.
Like a lot of hentai in general, like a lot of women just have like the little teardrops in the corner. Or
Well,
But
that's-
with these, it's
Yeah,
like
they're
right
straight
on
up
their
crying.
face.
Fully weeping
yeah,
at some point.
Deja says try Princess Katue? I don't know, have you guys seen that?
Hentai
Cock
hates men,
roaches?
hentai loves bangs.
Huh? I haven't seen that one.
Roaches? Okay, well, nobody's seen that.
I don't think I have.
What were you about to say, Stevie? About something?
I was
you
like, I
realized?
just noticed there was another thing that vibrates, and it was he drew eyes vibrating a lot.
Yes! He
Like, that
did.
was creepy.
That was one of the things in the first one that I was just like, this is weird. I can't look at this. Like the
like
eyes
her eyes
were...
are just like.
Yeah, he almost draws eyes like they're dilated sometimes. Like, to me, with the crying and the dilation, it almost seems like it's almost like a drug-induced ecstasy kind of thing going on, or
Drug sex.
or it's like there's like
It's just lusty.
yeah, it's like with the crying, it's almost like that border between pain and pleasure is just not there.
I think he thinks pain is pleasure. That's like there's
Murakami's just
that's
so
it.
light.
There's no line. That is it. Like all his themes, even from the lighthearted stuff.
because none of you managed to get through most of Prison Battleship, but in the second episode, there's a scene where they give the women drugs that basically, what's the opposite of constipation?
Diarrhea.
Not diarrhea, laxatives.
Laxative, yeah.
He basically gives them laxatives, and they put anal toys in them, and all these guys are having their way with them. And then at the end, they pull out the anal toys, and these women defecate in front of all these men, and they're all cheering and laughing at them as part of like this humiliation play.
I'm glad I didn't watch that one.
Yeah, to me, it's like that unusual extreme where it's like that. It's like it's like there's pleasure in defecating, right? Like it's one of the. It's like in not psychology studies, but there's like that primal pleasures that people get. One of them is eating, defecating, sex.
But that's not like a sexual play.
Yeah, but it becomes that in this scenario, right?
Like there's
And-
been times when I go into the crap where I'll come out like, woo, I feel great, but it's like it's not. I'm not doing it with a rock hard stick.
Yeah.
You don't
But
want want the little Poseidon
Well,
kids going on.
like your poop just comes out, right? But if it was coming out and going back in,
turtling.
That's why it's weird. Not weird to me, but it's like that's interesting to me that he breaks down those kind of borders between. You can't tell if a woman's feeling good or if it's painful with the way she's crying.
Until she's
There's that defecation scat kind of combination with sexual pleasure.
she's crapping herself. I think this feels good for her.
You haven't.
No, but like, just remember, like every time those scenes end, and you're trying to wonder if she's in play, she always says "I love you," and it's like, oh, okay. Like,
Yeah, it's like how do you
I
tell?
guess it's okay. I guess no, like
I love you. It's like you're fucking sick.
I'm a monster.
It's like I love you, or it's just like, oh, I'm coming. That's how you know she likes it. It's like, okay, cool.
No longer we've been going.
About an hour and a half?
Okay, it's not that long.
No.
I love you. Oh god.
Yeah, it's
When
almost
I
like
wipe the first time and it comes back clean, I lose myself. That is a pretty good feeling, but again, I'm not at full mass. It's more like all right, you did good, butthole.
Good job, butthole.
What did you all like? Who here got into more than one episode of Taimanin Asagi,
Which one's that?
the Ninja Demon Sex?
Wasn't that was like a feature-length movie?
It's because it was 4 episodes put into one video.
Okay, no, I didn't.
So in that one, in addition to Prison Battleship, Body Modification, which is like one of the more extreme kind of tags out there, comes into play. And I already mentioned what happens with the imprisoned battleship, where and it happens in Taimanin Asagi too, where these women's bodies are literally modified so that every part of them is like an erogenous zone that feels sexual pleasure. What do you think about that sort of objectification, I guess? I don't know if that's the right word, or commodity becoming of the body that happens in that kind of way.
Doesn't that kind of play back into his the corruption idea, where he takes these women
like dirty?
Like I guess in order to really discuss this, we would have to ask ourselves, what is the end goal of the corruption? What does the corruptor seek to see that person become? And then, once we know what that is, we can ask ourselves, does these modifications move that person towards that final goal?
I'm assuming they're usually resistant to sex, and then now that everything is sexy,
Oh yeah. It makes them more easy.
Yeah, I also think it kind of plays into that like solirophilia that you see a lot, where it's kind of like dirtying and degrading these people. Because something I noticed in that a lot of these stories, except maybe in like Imouto Paradise and not so much in the forced conception one, a lot of these women are women in positions of power that then go through these degrading sexual processes that sort of break them until everything is sexual pleasure. And a lot of times, a lot of the men in these stories are in positions of power, they gain positions of power. For example, in the first one, Dark Love, the man is in charge of this mansion where he's supposed to basically break in prostitutes. He's in charge of these women, he's in charge of what happens to them, and in one of the episodes, he offers a woman a way out of debt through selling her body to all these men. The second story is, you have Taimanin Asagi, where the sort of man behind the curtain that you guys really didn't get to see is this man called Edwin Black, which I thought was funny because that's also the name of your...
oh man!
It's the name of your changeling character.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's
there might have been some subconscious...
Yeah, so there's this man, Edwin Black, who's in charge of the Chaos Arena, where these ninjas are forced to fight these sexual combats that they end up having to
This
fight.
is my character's backstory.
Daystra says, "Oh God, is that one of those where clits are injected with giant syringes or something?"
There was a syringe scene.
That's in Dark Love.
In Dark Love.
Dark Love.
I remember getting a surprise moment with that in a dojin, and I legit freaked out. I was done.
That doesn't
You
happen.
poor thing.
I think they get syringes in their nipples in Taimanin Asagi, not the clit. But
But that
was a
doesn't
vagina.
feel good. Like when your entire body, it's if you're touched anywhere, and
And you
it's
just
it's
cream
it's
yourself.
too much. It's too
Well,
much.
yeah, isn't that like a legitimate medical condition?
No, where you can't control orgasms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just like everything will set you off.
Yeah. So you have the main antagonist, Edwin Black, in Taimanin Asagi, who turns out to be a demon vampire. And he's in a position of
So
power.
close.
Yeah, he's in a position of power over these women, where he also runs like these criminal organizations, and he's in charge of what happens to them. Then you have Prison Battleship, where it's the captain that's doing these awful things to these female officers. And then in Imouto Paradise, you have the older brother, is in a way a position of respect and power over younger siblings.
Yeah, they definitely did
The difference is they all loved him.
Yeah, and then in the
They
last
actually liked him.
Yeah, in the last one, the forced conception one, Zettai, I keep forgetting how to say it.
Breeding pass.
Yeah, in Breeding Pass, the guy is given power over women by giving this pass that says, no matter what, you have to have sex with me.
Which is
Yeah.
the nice way of putting rape.
I mean,
I can do this.
They
because
they
I
have a
this
responsibility to Japan. And
It was his
Lay
duty.
back and think of your country.
It was his duty to do it.
it's just like, I don't want to do this, you don't want to do this, so let's just do, come on.
Lay back
So-
and think of the emperor. No, what do you all think about that? Like, you always have men in positions of power, and then sometimes you have women in power that then get brought down through like these solirophiliac acts.
Hey, welcome to our level.
That's where I'm at all the time.
The real theme is you're all sick fucks just like me, and I'm gonna bring you all down here.
I wonder if Murakami, I wonder if that might be something cultural. Like, I've noticed I've been doing some writing lately, and I've actually got a little bit to show you for that project that we're working on that we're not supposed to tell anybody outside of Capcom about. I've noticed a lot of themes of, I guess, marginalization and just being pissed off at the man, working my way into the work. And I think you'll see what I mean. and I wonder if it's the same for Murakami. Living in a culture where it's so based around these zaibatsus, so based around, basically selling your soul to your job, or you become a NEET, which is somehow disgraceful. I wonder if maybe...
Somehow.
For some reason, you're saying no, not wanting to do anything.
Well, I mean, as a counterculture to what they've got going on, I'm kind of on their side. Yeah. But I wonder if that's him subconsciously trying to fight against these suffocating strictures of his culture and just of his country and his government and all that.
Yeah.
So, Deistra said, have you noticed, and Josh, this is something you mentioned, and I think going on a little bit with what Chas was saying, have you noticed a lot of hentai with whole male getting a free pass for rape because of Japanese population crisis?
Yeah, I see that a lot.
That's an actual hentai, actually, that I go to Hentai Haven a lot. So
oh, was it?
That's
was
an actual
was it the one where
tag,
was it rape is legalized?
Yeah, rape is legal with the girl with the cat ear hoodie and stuff. Like every male, they were just like, oh, it's a new law, or you can just rape anybody.
No, you can't rape anybody. Women who have not had their first period and women who are too old are exempt from this.
We're out. But anybody that was
but everyone in between.
Yeah, you can just go and just
fair
rape
game.
them just because.
No, that's why I also think it's interesting. There, you can see that sort of almost countercultural aspect in it, and was it because there's also that Japanese cultural phenomena with the herbivore men and carnivore women. Have you guys heard of that? Where it's women who prefer careers and pursuing what they want, as compared to men who just kind of resign to what's given to them, kind of thing. In addition to
cultural thing in Japan.
Yeah. What are you laughing at?
Deistra said rape is legalized. Xavier proceeds to smile largely.
No, that takes away the thrill of the hunt.
The Master and the Commander weird Japanese bullshit is actually punk.
What's going on,
Good
Fred?
take.
Yeah, well, do you think that kind of plays into it maybe with what connections you're seeing in that idea of because I know you've played Catherine, right? That's also something that comes up in that game as a theme, in that men are just kind of becoming passive or are seen as becoming passive in Japanese culture, and then you have these aggressive women, and it's almost like passive men trying to turn that situation around and putting themselves in power, or being already in positions of power and taking it back in sexual intercourse.
Yeah, because I remember his girlfriend was very she did everything in the relationship. She had the job,
and he still complained.
Right? I was
okay, now to be fair,
I'm here.
Bitch, Adam.
That's cute.
Oh, good. I'll get him.
Oh, okay.
Do hentai stuff.
To be fair, Demon Catherine had a so much more interesting. Catherine with the K, right? That was regular girl.
That was the girlfriend.
Yeah, she was the one that you're just okay, you're supposed to work things out and not be a piece of shit. But with Sea Catherine, you get to fight the Lord of Hell. So it's just what do I want to do?
Now we gotta do a debate for the full-bodied edition where it has the third girl, and then we'll get into that.
Turn over and get on your neck.
I saw that part. I don't know how you're gonna do that without a big size body. You guys didn't hear it on the audio, but I didn't. OPI opened up on the doors.
You can sit next to me, friend.
Well, then you guys can scooch and I'll sit over here.
You can sit on the floor?
I'll just sit on the table. I'll sit on the floor.
You can't sit on the table, Adam. There's mics.
It's not a tonkatsu either.
But it's tall.
Or kotatsu. I said the fucking ramen name.
Tonkatsu.
It's not a tokatsu either. Regrettably, this table is not delicious ramen. Yeah, we also got Adam now from CAFCON here with us.
Hello.
He's going to be watching hentai to catch up with us real quick because he hasn't seen all of it.
You just see him in the background.
I was thinking you should have watched the podcast while I'm driving, or you watch the hentai while I'm driving.
Wolf Adam, you got to multitask.
That's dangerous.
I need to do both, but I can't. I need 2 phones.
Yeah, kind of going back to the not just the themes, but the actual physical way the hentai is presented.
Grimnir says hi.
Hello.
There's, to me, what happened with the moving camera.
Please sit.
No.
It really seemed to be like.
No, Chess, really sit.
I will sit on Fitz's table.
That's Fitz's table.
But the mic can get my voice here, and it won't be able to catch you over there.
You want to bet? I'm a loud, abrasive motherfucker.
This will bring my intro, guys. Okay.
Let us know if you can hear him, guys.
Okay, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, to me it almost seemed like it makes the hentai become voyeuristic in a way. It's almost like you're somebody who's just kind of creepily filming this thing and watching it.
Maybe it's like symbolic, it's like, oh, you're the sick fuck watching this.
I may have made this, but you're watching it.
So you think Murakami, it's sort of a commentary on the viewer?
I don't know if it's a commentary on the viewer. To me, it does seem to be like a voyeuristic thing that's happening. Like there's like a pleasure meant to be taken from seeing something you're not supposed to be seeing, in a way that might play into like the more extreme aspects of a hentai that we've been looking at, or the extreme hentai that he makes.
Like you're a perv, you're just watching this.
I mean, you kind of are a perv, but
Yeah. Also, now that we got Adam and Xavier in the same room, we can proceed to create the pose for Chaz waifu to go. Yes, please. I will take pictures.
That's cheating though. You have to just do it for memory.
from memory.
So that way it's artistically, yeah.
I heard what you said. Xavier heard what you said. I don't think you heard it.
Yusuf says unzip
Oh
stick.
fuck, it's unzip stick. We've got an Adam fan.
One.
Yeah, what do you all think of like a lot of the ugly men that he has in his hentai, with the
He
exception of
loves
some?
them.
Yeah,
It adds to the degrading. Like,
Yeah.
imagine if it was a handsome guy.
Well,
Or
didn't
like-
we talk about this like last week too, with like Ron Jeremy and shit? How they do that in Western porn? So they'll take a very either average looking or below average looking dude, so that way it's easier for the.
Well, that Ron Jeremy had a big ass dick. Like, that's completely
but
different.
I mean, come on, nobody cast Ron Jeremy because he's
He
pretty.
didn't even look that bad back in the 70s. Like, now he looks disgusting, but like, this is back in the 70s, man. Where like Harry was like the thing.
It's like, hey. But yeah, the fat sack is shit.
But like, yeah, it just adds more creepier. That's why I was just getting sick feelings. Like, oh, is he sick fucks doing sick fuck things? Like, it's sick.
He's not pretty, you know.
The prettiest guy was like the from the first series, but even he looked fucking retarded too with his skinny ass. Chin. His eyes was like up here and the look at his face. Like,
No, I actually showed you that frame, right, where it's just like
oh yeah, the woman's face where it's kind of.
it's like the face looks like it's going this way, but it's drawn like if it's going this way.
I missed that.
What do you all think of the settings? Because something I feel like he does is like the settings of every one of the hentai that he makes, it's almost removed from everyday society. And it's something I also pointed out that happened with the onsen tag, in that you're almost witnessing something extreme, and it's only capable of happening because it's removed from the normal world you're used to. So in the first one, you have the mansion where these women are being broken into prostitutes. There's some weird elder god living in the basement that gives you magic potions that give you weird sexual power and virility and tentacles. And then in Taimanin Asagi, you have the Chaos Arena, which is this arena run by demons where women are raped by monsters and forced to fight each other. You have the prison battleship, which becomes this weird thing once night falls on the ship and your brain is turned into something else. You have the house that they really don't seem to leave in the Imouto Paradise.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to happen as much as with the Conception license one. Although it does kind of happen when he uses the license, it's almost like wherever they're in becomes a different scenario.
yeah.
So you think he purposely cast his work in like these closed spaces?
I was confused by from the last series, that girl that he fucks like 4 times, like she goes through costume changes. Like, how the hell did that happen?
It has to do with the license and how it makes their outfits change to what he wants to see.
Oh, okay. I thought this was just like a new girl. He was at the same
But
area.
not just what he wants to see, right? Like something where sex is going to be like accessible.
Yes.
Easy access, like a onesie.
Okay. So what do you all think about the way the sort of setting plays into the? Do you think it plays into the more extreme aspects that you can believe these awful things, and that's why for some of you it kind of makes you feel sick seeing it?
Yeah.
Because it's more believable, because this isn't something happening in the everyday world you're used to. And does it become more believable that way, you think?
I think his viscerality definitely adds to that.
It adds like a
As far as
disconnect.
believable, I don't know, man. I feel like tentacles are.
Well, it's kind of like you can't believe orcs in real life, right? But then you see it in Lord of the Rings and it becomes more believable. Do you think some of these... Huh? Oh. Different problems. But do you think that kind of applies with the extreme sexual acts that you see in these stories, is they become more visceral and believable due to them kind of being removed from the ordinary world?
I mean, I can see how I can believe it in their world. Like the whole breeding pass thing, just like
it's like a dystopia where there's not enough men to go around,
which is very quickly becoming a reality. But don't worry, Japan, we'll save you. America will come in and fix everything. Don't worry.
They read last time.
I think I told you guys before, but I saw an article where apparently there's a shortage of Japanese male porn stars.
Yeah.
That's why they're all older.
When's the Orc Cop podcast? Fuck this hentai shit.
I mean, if we were gonna have an orc podcast, Josh, you'd have to be the orc.
Was that me? Can you hand me my phone? Sorry.
Oh, I was wondering what that sound was.
I think there's like just a big disconnect through all his videos. It's a cold. It's very cold.
Yeah.
Like all the colors he uses are very
really
cold colors.
Up. It's so dark.
And then especially for the ninja one, I didn't like the colors were not attractive, especially when they were like mind fucking the girl with the tentacles. And I only saw the first episode, and like they're using like weird colors I never seen combined. The yellow with the magentas and the cyans. I'm like, what the fuck? Usually,
like, I think I saw that one. Like that was the one that's like uneasy to the eyes. Like,
yeah, that one I didn't like looking at that one. It was gross.
They're all gonna be like this. I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah, that's
Are you talking about like the Ahego or just like?
It's like the color spectrum. Usually in the color spectrum, like Michael Bay uses like magenta and like blue and orange. Those are on the opposite and the most attractive. This guy's like, nah, fuck this. I'm gonna put all these ugly ass colors together and just like, throw them in there.
Nah, fuck this, man.
And then it's like, it's just gross to look at. I didn't not like the ninja one at all, but the prisoner one was just more thematically.
We need to do a live stream on Pornhub or something so we can make live commentaries.
Oh yeah,
or write notes.
We've joked about that as well. That's why we do it on YouTube and not Twitch. Is because Twitch you can't talk about sex things at all.
Because
you can show your cleavage, but not.
It's a family-friendly site, like
family-friendly, where you can pay for softcore stuff.
Oh yeah, with the whole fucking Tumblr, you can't post erotic stuff on it anymore. Like 90% of their user base.
Pornhub opened. Pornhub told them that you could post photos up there, so maybe they'll migrate to there.
Pornhub's just like, we'll get. Yeah, when are we just get everyone gonna go to Pornhub as the default social media?
Because Pornhub won't limit you to something.
Yeah, just like, yeah, you should come on down. And then Pornhub are such nice people.
They are. They
Does
plant
the gaping
trees.
hole in this scene represent the gaping hole in modern Japanese morality?
Hey, you can make an argument for that if you extract it enough from.
Tell me about your thoughts on the weird butthole that you had a problem with one of the series.
No. It's just because I don't know if it was a lighting thing or if just lazy drawing. But in the Imouto Paradise, when he's stretching out his little sister's butthole, with his fingers, mind you, not his penis. It's like it looked incomplete.
Yeah, it did.
And so they kind of, it's like when you just like fill paint and you didn't know there was a gap. and so now it looks like she has a tail.
That might have been exactly what happened. He didn't realize his mistake.
It's just like, okay, it's like fill with this color. Oh, what is that? We don't have time to change it.
Daystra says there's Let's Players on Pornhub for lewd games. There you go, Josh.
Oh, that's my neighbor's dogs.
Oh yeah, the dogs are. It's okay. These are cardioid mics.
Okay.
If they can hear him, that's impressive.
But yeah, the butthole was just odd to me.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to pass it off as just like, okay, maybe your butt's like pulsating out and you can see some of the, I don't know, man.
Master of the Commander said, love to fix my pornography with a paint bucket tool.
That's why you censored it there, but it's like, oh, we forgot to censor it.
No, it's not. Okay, well, no, her vagina was censored, but not her butthole.
Yeah, that's a censorship thing in Japan.
Butthole is fine.
We should love to know the philosophy behind that. Like, where do you draw the line?
Over the penis.
I was gonna say the
Over the head.
Wrong. It's always like the bump part. Why is that the obscene
It's always the head part.
Because you can't.
By the way, that reminds me, Murakami has a very specific way of drawing penises.
No, elaborate.
Well, he kind of just like, what's the word? I want to say there's no sharp angles, but I don't think that necessarily describes what I'm talking
almost heart shaped.
Part of it has to do with the lighting, and
No,
how
I mean,
they're
seriously.
not particularly veiny either. It's just
Yeah.
smooth penises.
Elaborate on his penises, Chaz.
Okay.
They're not veiny. That's
Daystro posted on the Discord a wholesome dojin before, but I have something a bit more fucked up. Oh, I guess so. This is a fucked one.
Oh.
I only read wholesome stuff. Fuck that.
Only wholesome hentai here, man.
Yeah, that's why I said that was last week's episode was the wholesome stuff.
Yeah.
That's okay. Well, I'll pick something more wholesome for the next one. We'll go back and forth with the artist.
We need more tentacles and cat girls, Josh.
No.
I'm
I
down for
wasn't
cat
here
girls.
for those 2 episodes, and I'm sad about that.
Should we start the build your own now, or
Yeah, what time is it?
6:44?
Okay, yeah. Well, we're getting late, so... Well, first of all, like I said, Murakami is a very divisive artist, so I'm curious about whether you have everybody has a yay or nay on whether you like it or not. Kind of going outside of how messed up his kind of themes are. When it comes to the actual animation and style he has, is it a yay or a nay for you?
It depends what you mean by yay. Like,
do you appreciate the way
do I respect his vision, or is it jerk offable? Like, what's like?
I have the same feelings about Transformers.
I would say yay in the sense like, okay, this guy has a view. He has a view of the world, and I can respect that. But also, like, you could stay the fuck over there and like just do your own thing, and
It's like,
that's cool.
you know what you're doing, and you know it very
Yeah,
well.
Yusuf
I just
says,
want
what
you to
sort
not
of
be.
fucking
I
norm
respect
are
you, sir. Now
simultaneously?
fuck off, kind of thing. So both yay and nay.
Well, we got other things we got to do. That's why. I guess for me, the reason I picked him was because he has a visually interesting style, even if I don't like the storylines he has or what little storyline there is.
What wasn't there to like?
Definitely very different than
Very.
Yeah. So I guess for me, it's a yay more than a nay. What about you, Xavier?
Orgasm on camera.
No, Adam, you'll know when I'm done.
It'll be a big old load like in the show.
I'm gonna have to go with yay.
You had seen some of this before.
I had
That is
seen
true.
some-
This is everything.
Okay, well,
Yeah, good point.
the reason, hold on, I don't just go looking for this stuff. The reason I had seen the Dark Love, specifically the second episode, is because somebody a long time ago made a
Super Saiyan transformation gif.
yes of the penis when it goes from like
Those plastic with spikes.
no, yeah, it goes from like little tentacle thing into like fucking a bad dragon toy. And then I didn't catch it the first time around, but I saw it when I saw it again recently. The cum comes out the sides,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just like I'm gonna spray it all over you because you'll get more pregnant.
Omnidirectional.
Omnidirectional semen spouts.
What about you, Melinda? Is Teruaki Murakami a yay or nay for you?
More of a nay. I don't know. I don't jive with what he's got going down for the most part. Maybe
Well, again,
that's
we're talking this is just the animation style, right? Not the tags.
Yeah. I can
Because
understand.
he kind of does the dark shit, right? But that's really more. I feel that like, oh, I can do my thing with this.
I didn't like how some of the characters looked, especially in Dark Love. So it's not horrible. Like, I'm not saying it's like shit, but it's not my personal favorite.
Adam, from what you've seen, is it a yay or nay on Teruaki Murakami?
It's not my tags, but I can appreciate the art.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
And I'm pretty sure I already know the answer, but for you, is Teruaki Murakami a yay or a nay?
It's a name.
Is it because you also hated the animation?
I didn't hate the animation.
Everything.
I just like the distortion with the faces was weird.
Were you
The
getting-
moving.
Were you getting
floating
motion
camera
sickness?
was weird.
Yeah, I don't like the floating cameras either.
Like this isn't what's turning me on to hentai. Like I'm not. This doesn't make me want to watch hentai.
I also didn't like how they looked from a distance in Dark Love.
Is it 'cause they stopped
had
drawing
like
the
a
faces?
weird. No, it's like they had like a weird like small head, and then they had like a weird shoulders, and then their bottom part was just like really round, and their legs looked too
I
long.
do
and
think
was like,
that they cut some corners. on
yeah,
this.
and I was like looking at it like, what?
But I think
Why
you're
does
not
it
supposed to
like
look at that part.
You just gotta focus on the sex.
No, no, Chaz, for you, is Teruaki Murakami a yay or a nay?
honestly, at first when Melinda and I first watched the first episode of Dark Love, I thought it looked a little weird too, and I can't really get behind that super weird facial distortion they do when you're going up and down the dick. But other than that, I think I'd have to give it a yay. It's a very interesting style. It's a very visceral style. Now I think he uses some of the tags and some of his viscerality because he deliberately wants to put his audience on edge or freak them out a little bit. But I appreciate how unique it is, how different it is from everything else. Like I said, the music was just a nice touch. I don't know why I respect that.
Well, it's because you like industrial music.
Yeah, well, not all of it. Not all of it. There was some like straight up regular porn every once in a while. But I think it's a very unique thing that you don't see a lot. That handheld camera sort of thing is very interesting, and I don't know if it was necessarily utilized to its fullest, but I think it could be. It's an interesting idea. He's working on a lot of levels that are his own, and like I said, you cannot watch some of this man's work now that you know who he is and not know that it was done by him. So from an artistic standpoint, I have to say yay. Now again, the tags are out the fucking floor.
All right, guys, you got it here.
The only one I like are the tentacles, and that's it.
He's for men.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid conclusion, even though it's mostly men here.
It's like Lars von Trier. Do you look past the intentional abrasiveness and stupid brutality and enjoy the cinematography, or do you recognize how fucking lame it is and ignore it?
What do you think about that Lars von Trier comparison as a film person?
That's actually a pretty accurate statement because Lars von Trier does a lot of handheld work. Like he does almost like comically like The Office type cinematography for his movies. But then he has these weird special scenes where like there's super slow motion and almost like paintings. And I like that style of him. But yeah, it seems like this guy's like almost like an edgelord too. He's like, hey, I'm gonna rustle some feathers over here and shit. Like he basically makes shit to piss people off nowadays, and that's what I feel like this.
Oh, Lars von Trier.
Yeah, and I feel like this guy's doing the same thing too.
Okay. So now that we're at the end of the podcast, as we have other businesses we have to attend to after this, we're gonna do the Build a Hentai workshop that we like to close our episodes with.
How are we doing this?
What we do is we usually take the tag that we were talking about and try to make our own hentai with that tag at the center of it.
So we're gonna do scat?
No.
Okay, well maybe.
We have to try to come up with our own Murakami-esque hentai story.
Oh, sweet lord.
And so you can change what you didn't like about it, because obviously some of us have a lot of things not to like. So we started off with basic story elements. So if you want, Steve, you can start off. Imagine you're writing a new Murakami hentai. What do you want the setting to be? That can be different from what he's done or in the same vein of what he's done. Kind of taking into account that kind of tendency to remove it from normal society.
How about a beach resort?
A beach resort, okay. Do you have like a specific place in mind?
Probably like a private beach full of rich people.
Alright, a private rich people resort. Does anybody else have an idea on who they want to be the protagonist in this?
That's a good point. Well, we can't do this over Discord. Yeah, we need to let everybody chime in.
Well, everybody can chime in the chat if they can.
I'll just blurt it out. No
Yeah. Alright, who here has an idea for the... Obviously, probably a male protagonist if it's Murakami-esque. Unless you want to do a complete role reversal and make one...
Massive Kraken-like tentacle monster is the protagonist.
No, it was a dude that like did an experiment with like.
He's an
with
tentacle arm.
Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, with like an octopus or something, and he has their DNA.
Dr. Otto Octavius?
Yeah.
Maybe they
He
start
has their
noticing
DNA.
octopuses in this beach resort. Like you just find their bodies all of a sudden.
He has their DNA.
There's some
tentacles.
experiments going on.
So you have a beach resort with a doctor, and this doctor is experimenting with octopuses and has like some tentacles coming out of his back, Doc Ock style.
Doc.
That was the obvious one. I can't believe I didn't think of that.
Doc Cock.
Okay. Who here wants to come up with what Doc Cock is
The
doing?
story is told through a man who has been transconfigured to be floating sentient candy camera.
I feel like I like that one more.
He's just the Morgan Freeman-esque narrator.
No, it's him.
What I saw on that
It's
day
him.
on that
It's him
beach.
doing.
Oh,
It's him doing like studies, right? So you know how when people do experiments, they'll record themselves.
Mhm.
So, but see, he's got his goggles and he's got cameras on the tentacles.
Google
So
Glass.
Yeah, so that's where you get the shifting viewpoints and the fucking fisheye.
Is Isaac at the end of the tentacle kind
Yeah.
of thing? Like it's like a rounded tentacle?
And then maybe when he stalks his prey for like women from Spring Break or something like that, rich women too. There again, he could degrade them.
Oh,
And then,
shit,
like he
add
just
the
zooms
voyeur
in.
spin, I like it.
So,
He
yeah.
zooms in,
So
and it's,
Google Glass and GoPros in each tentacle.
and then he
So
goes,
that- so
and
that
then
way you
maybe
get X-ray shot too.
yeah, X-ray shots in the houses too,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
it just goes through the house, or maybe he just puts his tentacles in the vents, and then it just
David Attenborough, but not.
Oh, David Attenborough.
David Attenborough style.
Never tell me I've not a mind for smut. My erotica is anonymous and legendary. That's Yusuf saying that.
Alright, so yeah, so what is Doc Cock doing here at this beach resort other than experimenting?
he looks for bratty women, spoiled.
The spoiled, bratty, rich,
No, she was teenager. Sure, why not?
18 years old.
Yeah,
standards.
she's 18 years old, and
no.
perhaps she has a spider motif.
It's spring break.
Yes.
And it's,
There's a lot of rich people here.
yes. Hold on. Most bullshit statement in CAFCON history, Dacer saying that my erotica is enormously legendary, and then Yusuf said, "You wish for me to disseminate my writings."
We've got a Discord for a reason, Yusuf. You're just not using it to its fullest.
Alright, Chaz, you haven't said anything. What do you think is the reason Doc Cock is doing out here at this beach resort during spring break with bratty rich women?
Okay, so I like the idea of bringing in Murakami's degradation themes into it. That's a good idea. But again, I ask why? What is the end goal of that degradation?
So he
Well,
can
to
feel
get
powerful.
to get
I-
women to admit to themselves that they're just cock hungry sluts.
That's not a bad idea, but like
I was like, okay, now let's.
that's a pretty brutal way to put what I was gonna say. Like
Doc Cock is
these women are like, you can't touch him unless you have money or power, and maybe he brings them up that he owns them now after that.
It says Doc Cock is exploiting their ill-gotten gains with his octopus powers.
Actually,
He defeats the Chad in the story, so to
The
speak.
virgin dog cockers is the Chad.
you know what? I kind of like that. But let's take that a little bit farther. So maybe because Murakami does like his like second worlds and his dystopias. So maybe this is happening in the midst of a population crisis, right? And these rich women that maybe because of the population crisis, maybe because they've pursued careers for so long, there's just this epidemic of these incredibly loaded women that have all developed this culture of being incredibly stuck up to the point where they won't have sex with any of the poor struggling men out there.
So your typical Instagram hoe.
So Doc Cock wants to sort of I guess bring them down to earth a little bit and be like, hey, you're not that special. Also, you need to have sex with people who are
What if they're all rich by being Instagram hoes?
I'll sword fight you. I guarantee you, I'm
I
hurting.
mean, I put in my 2 cents, and then that's where I'm rolling. You can take
Where was it
your career
where
whichever
was
you
it
want.
you said that the Instagram hosts
Dubai.
Dubai. Instead of
Dubai.
going to Dubai, they're going to
Oh,
this.
it can be.
To fuck the pretentiousness out of rich girls, and it says I've been banking erections for this exact scenario Chaz has been describing.
Here, Melinda, because Murakami seems not to have the sensibility in his hentai that women seem to like. How would you make this something that you'd enjoy more with the scenario we're making? What kind of sex has to happen, or what kind of situations?
The Doc
Bondage
Cock
with
looks
the
lovingly
tentacles.
into their eyes as he inserts cameras in every orifice.
Bondage with tentacles.
I will show you a whole new world. I mean, how would you add something you might like into this that typically isn't in Murakami's work?
Something I meant like.
No, not that just something that makes it interesting to you.
Maybe if like the women were just terrible people, because most of the other works where they were kind of innocent, or like they were kind of like innocent and brought up to this. What if they're just like 100% bitch, and then brought up to that level?
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be more tolerable.
Sure, yeah.
Like you deserve
There's
this.
really nothing for me to.
But are they bad enough to be tentacle attacked?
These, yeah, Instagram hoes.
Well, we
I feel like you really don't like Instagram.
we were talking
I'm a
about
videographer, so yeah.
Well, it's not just Insta hoes. It's also some of these women are
Narcissist.
no, they're selling weapons to third world countries.
Oh,
so
shit.
So now we're gonna make
Tony Starks.
We're gonna make them evil. We're gonna make them really evil.
I was gonna say they're the ones that are always doing the
Oh yeah, you said Insta hose.
They sell oils, essential oils.
One of them sells essential oils.
They're anti-vaxxers.
They're anti-vaxxers.
Flat earthers. Flat earthers, anti-vaxxers. Oil selling hoes.
leading to the population crisis.
That are rich.
Because for some reason, Japan developed a disease that only killed off men somehow.
What is it saying?
Well, we know what kind of extreme vigorous sex is going to happen, so we need to come up with a name for this awful hentai.
Maybe Doc Cock has a really deep extra, like really deep. Oh hell yeah, dude! Doc Cock is a third worldist.
No, okay, normally I always advocate we go for like an alliteration or like a funny pun, but I think like in reverence to Murakami's vision, as Steve said, it should be something just super pretentious, like one word, like plum.
Philanthropist.
No. I almost feel like I should have an absurd title like Doc Cock, Tentacle Inferno, 100% bitch, like you said.
I like it.
You know what? Do that.
All right, so
I like that one.
The name of this hentai animation that will someday be made is Doc Coctopus, Tentacle Inferno, 100% bitch.
Can you
100.
get a fucking email tomorrow from Murakami? I want to license that.
Hey, if he
I
wants
want to buy the rights.
he can have them if he wants to buy them from us. I just asked that CAFCON has a writing credit, and that you maybe bring me in to write the script.
He's done his research, Murakami.
It's cross promotion.
I mean, if he's the guy.
No,
it's
Josh is the main writer. We're all kind of adding our little spins on it. And the
Oh,
editor,
just don't
like-
forget at the ending she has to say I love you to the
yeah.
octopus guy.
Thank you for showing me the errors of my ways. He's a scientist,
And then
he-
she becomes a philanthropist
I
at
will
the end.
vaccinate all of my kids from now on.
I'll vaccinate all my kids, and I now see through your scientific knowledge that the world is not actually flat.
Sorry, you
And she
gonna
becomes a
shock that?
philanthropist after that.
Doc Coctopus Inferno, 100% bitch to electrical boogaloo.
Well, yeah, that's when you put the jump.
That's the sequel, but
And Dace just said he's not going to be able to do anything with this one because he has no idea how to go about it. So.
No, I understand that this one's a tall order.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this Murakami-focused episode of the Hentai Literature Club. Obviously, we have all that nice social media stuff. If you want to follow us, the Discord is up here in one of these corners. If you want to talk to us and you want to hang out with us and you want to talk even more hentai with us or just tabletop gaming and other nerd stuff, you can join us there. We have a Patreon if you want to throw money at us. Obviously, I need to buy better audio equipment if you want to help with that. But other than that, yeah, thanks for tuning in, and fap on.
Oh, no, I gotta.
He's too far. No, let's just not do it.
No, you're doing
Why
it.
do you not like
This
it
is
so
your
much?
idea. You were the one that made us do this. Right, I gotta make sure I get the best sound.
Yeah,
on
the good mic is this one over
Show
here.
your butt on the.
There we go. And we're signing off.
Bye.
That's right.
who's hungry?